Session. Go and he asked Roddy presiding. Please be seated.
All right. Do we have any preliminary matters before we have the jury? Of course we do. That's fine. Come on.
Lahko kaj sliš, kabli. A me kdo sliš? A me zdaj slišite? Oh my god, nekaj sem imela disabled, pa ne vem zakva. Ok, stream še nima zvoka, da ne boste pa nič žarali, pa bomo pa naprej to rešvali, ker nimam pojma, kva bo s tem. Ful me kabli zajebavajo, ker imam nekaj zamaknjeno celo škatlo računalnika, imam tako zamaknjeno, da USB-ji ne grejo dobro. A je v redu sound? Mislim, tako, a dobro slišite, sam slišite. Ja, vibrira zato, ker stream se še ni začel in je zaenkrat sam ta statika. Tako da to je vse cool, še bo. Sliš se me kaj izcevivan. Mene zdaj strah karkoli spremeni, da nam spet so vse zrušil. Pa bi raje tako pustila. Ej, a je nekdo lih 5 evrov doniral en anonimen? Jo, pa me to ne kaže. V glavnem vidim, da je pač par sekund nazaj, tako da very freaking cute. Kaj ne znam bolj potih? Okej.
A je tole zdaj boljši zvok ali slabši? To je boljša, ne? Yes! Kva bi jaz brez vas? Ne vem. Vidim, da gre. Dobar je. The best, the best. Kako mi čakam. Zdaj pa sem še stream dela. Mislim, ja, pač njihov stream. Ko začnejo govoriti. Ok, the best. I am very happy now, yes. A moram kaj tiši dati ali pa kaj. Slike ne moram zrihtati, tudi je ne mislim, ker je fajn, da se mene čim manj vidi. Ja. Sojenje bo zdaj trajal še približen, mislim, da 2-3 tedne, se pa zelo veliko lahko spremeni glede na nove priče, glede na nove informacije in tako naprej. Tako da ja. Mater, 166 vas gleda, pa trpeli ste zdaj z mano, ko nisem vedela, kva se dogaja. The best. V glavnem, zdaj se naši dragi odvetniki in sodnica Penny še posvetujejo glede vsega, vidim. Pa Karen od Amber. Ful imajo enega dela sami sabo. Ta Amber bo danes večer delala samo umor. Jaz dejansko tega ne prvošam lih, ker je ženska bolana po moje, pač nima čisto spucanih stvari v glavi in če ne drugega rab pomoč. Je pa po moje še velik, prejem bo ona prišla do te točke, da bo dojela, da resno rab pomoč, a ne. Ja. Ja, stream zgleda v redu. Imam sicer na kamerco zdaj vse, zato ker zaradi tega, ker drugače mi ne dela kamera. Ful stvari me zajbava. Pa zaradi tega, ker imam škatlo slab sestavljeno, ker ne moram drugače štekati, da bi bolj prijel. O čem je že to sojenje? To je sojenje stoletja, to je sojenje Johnnyja Deppa in Amber Heard. Trenutno Johnny Depp sojenje. Trenutno Johnny Depp tož svojo bivšo ženo Amber Heard, ki ga je obtožila, da je whitebeater oziroma pretepat žensk oziroma napisala je cel članek o tem, da so vsi vedeli, vsi verjeli, da je on tepel in njemu se je izjebala karijera. Realno je bilo pa ravno obratno. Predstavljali si to, ravno obratno, ona je njega tepla in zdaj ta resnica prihaja na dan in danes bojo Amber po moje ne smem kleti. Po moje bojo danes uničili, ko bi čakam. Zdaj ne vem, kva se tako dolgo pogajajo, ampak okej. Vmes bom šlo mogoče kavo narediti. Pozabila sem si kavo narediti. Kako imaš še vedno toliko želje in volje do življenja in kako ostajaš motivirana? A je to zame, a za Amber sprašuješ? Jaz imam ful ene volje pa motivacije, jaz sem ful happy človek. Res, skoraj sem imela oblikico na kolo obrnjeno. Gremo! A se to zdaj sliš?
Alright, are we ready for the jury?
A se česa preveč sliš? Jaz sem tako excited. Tole včeraj je bilo, kva je delala ta Kamil, sodnica od Johnnyja, jo je raztrgala in kva bo danes, oh my god. Sojenje na tiše. Po mojem sem dala malo tiši. Čak, tole tiši. Jaz sploh ne vem, kvaj kaj.
All right. Be seated. All right. Next
Okay.
question.
Moj sosed mi je računalnik sestavljal za Stonja, tako da v bistvu sem bolj jaz njemu uslugo delala, ki si to želel.
Good morning.
Dobro jutro. Klej ura 4:03.
Your relationship with Mr. Depp began in October of 2011, right?
That's correct.
And you previously testified multiple times under oath that the first year of your relationship with Mr. Depp was the best of times, right, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
You testified that as far as you could tell, Mr. Depp was sober that first year,
That is correct. That's what I used to believe.
and that the first year was, quote, magic.
Yes, I always estimated it was about a year.
But now you've told this jury that Mr. Depp was being violent with you throughout 2012, haven't you, Ms. Heard?
No, he took a break.
Neki mi je ven vrgel, I guess.
He was smashing things around you, right?
He did.
And you told them that Mr. Depp was in and out of sobriety in 2012.
That is correct.
You told this jury that in 2012, I was in the beginning stages of this, just learning these patterns. I was learning that drinking kind of correlated with the violence, end quote. Is that right?
That is correct.
So it was during these cycles of violence in 2012 that you gave Mr. Depp a knife as a gift.
I gave him a knife, I think for a birthday present early in our relationship. I believe it was around 2012, but I'm not certain.
We've seen a picture of that knife, but I think we should bring out the real thing. Master Deputy Halusa, Master Deputy Sheriff Halusa, may I please have you show the knife to Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's it.
That's the knife you gave to the man who was hitting you, right, Ms. Heard?
I wasn't worried he was going to stab me with it when I gave it to him, that's for certain.
But you gave it to him while he was abusing you, allegedly.
I gave it to him that year.
Master Deputy Sheriff Halusa, will you please show the knife to the jury?
Tole bo dolgo trajalo, danes po mojem do polnoči 11, a ne? Ker tam je ura zdaj 9 ali 10 zjutraj.
Thank you. This is the knife you gave to the man who would get drunk and violent with you, right?
This is the same knife that I gave him as a present in 2012, yes.
Now, Ms. Heard, I'm going to need to talk to you about what happened in Australia in March of 2015. You've testified that at some point during the incident you described, you witnessed Mr. Depp bashing the phone against a wall, right?
That is correct.
You testified that the phone was breaking into pieces.
I was watching it disappear.
And Mr. Depp smashed it, I think your word was smithereens.
Yes, that is correct.
And according to your testimony, this was a wall-mounted phone in the bar area.
That is correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1820.
Kamiljo bo uničila. Kamilja je ta sodnica od Johnnyja.
Miss, I believe this has already been admitted into evidence, if we could have it published.
Kakšna donacija? Zakaj meni to ne kaže? Kakšna donacija? Donacija,
Thank you.
Din Baznik, hvala.
You saw this photo during your direct examination, right?
That is correct.
And you testified that the wall-mounted phone that you saw Mr. Depp smash is on the wall on the left.
That's correct. So if you were looking at this picture, the wall-mounted phone would have been behind you on the left-hand side of your shoulder.
It's not depicted in this photo, correct?
Whoever took this photo standing right in front of where that mounted phone was.
It's convenient. The pieces of the phone Mr. Depp smashed aren't in this picture either, right?
You don't see it because it's whoever took this photo standing in front of that.
Whoever took this photo, it's Mr. Ben King, correct?
That's what I believe.
Yeah. Mr. King testified under oath in this trial, right?
That is correct.
And he testified that there was no wall-mounted phone smashed to smithereens that he had to replace, correct?
I didn't hear him testify to that, no.
He did. Your counsel elicited it.
I disagree with that representation.
You also saw this picture. Actually, can we please bring up Defendant's Exhibit 1821, which is also admitted into evidence?
Nekaj je bilo spet. Lydia Couch, Geo, Alien Gang.
You also saw this picture during your direct examination, correct?
That is correct.
And so this is the bar area to the right of the wall-mounted phone you just described.
If you were facing in that direction, if you're facing this direction, it would be behind you.
Te slike
This
so
phone on
narejene
the
s
counter isn't
teglom.
the phone that got smashed to smithereens, is it?
No, they brought that out during my testimony in the UK as well, and I said this in the UK trial as well, that is not the phone. Obviously, because that one's not smashed and it's not wall-mounted.
Yeah, so there are two phones in the bar area.
There was a wall-mounted phone. I don't know if it was decorative or what, but it was white, like it looked antique, large and antique.
Dejansko, jaz sama verjamem svojim lažem.
one,
Good point.
the large and antique one that's not depicted in any photograph, including ones you took, is the one that Mr. Depp damaged, correct?
That is correct. I only took pictures of the mirrors.
Darwin Vauda,
So there's
welcome.
no picture of that damaged phone.
I didn't take a picture of it, no.
Okay. So back to the phone smashing. You watched Mr. Depp smash the phone, right?
That's correct. I watched it.
And you testified that you were, quote, watching the phone every single time he pulled his hand back, end quote.
That's correct.
And according to you, this is when Mr. Depp lost the tip of his finger, right?
It is my best guess. I didn't notice his finger come off, obviously. I was watching him smash the phone and watching the pieces break while he was doing it.
Well, it's not your best guess, Ms. Heard.
That is my best guess, yes.
Okay, let's go back to my questions. You submitted a declaration under the penalty of perjury in this case. Do you remember that?
That is correct.
Okay, let's look at that declaration.
Wow, ona dela s svojim izjavam. Jaz ne morem, stari. Sodišča ne delujejo.
Yes, ma'am.
Bomo hmalo videli, čez 3 tedne. 2.
Thank you.
If we could direct your attention, Ms. Heard, to the page 14 of the declaration.
Vse najboljše, mali girl. Vse najboljše. Mene skrbi, da je ful velika verjetnost, da bo Amber zmagala, ker če samo en član porote verjame Amber, je zmagala. Članov porote je 7.
And your signature appears right under the statement, quote, I declare, under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the state of Virginia, that the foregoing is true and correct.
That is correct.
And this is dated April 10th, 2019.
Correct.
Now let's look at paragraph 16, which is on page 5. Specifically line 10. Quote, you write, testify under oath, while he was smashing the phone, Johnny severely injured his finger, cutting off the top of it, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So you testified in this courtroom that after Mr. Depp smashed the phone, he held you down on the countertop by the neck. Do you remember that?
I'm not quite sure of the exact sequence of things, but yes, both of those things happened.
We'll get to the sequence. And this is when Mr. Depp supposedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
On the countertop, he assaulted me.
Kako
So
gleda
Mr. Depp was
skozi
able to get you on the
poroto.
counter, right?
He held me down by my neck.
And hold you down by your neck.
That is correct.
And he grabbed a bottle, according to you, while holding you down by the neck, correct?
I'm sorry, can you clarify what you're asking me?
While Mr. Depp is holding you by the neck against the countertop, he grabs a bottle. That's your testimony.
No, those two things didn't happen at the exact same time, no.
While he's holding the bottle, is that your testimony? While
was
holding
holding
you down by the neck?
Sorry. What was your question?
Kako se neumno dela
Your
ta
testimony is
ženska.
misheard. that either he has the bottle before or after he's holding you by the neck on the counter. Is that your testimony?
He held me by the neck on the counter.
Where's the bottle? That he's
At what point?
while holding you down by your neck.
When he was assaulting me with the bottle, it was in his hand.
Was it in his hand before or after he holds you down by your neck?
I was being held down while he assaulted me with the bottle.
When he puts you on the counter, does he have the bottle in his hand, yes or no?
As I have always said, I don't remember exactly what happened first, or I don't remember the sequence. I just remember being aware that I was being assaulted by a bottle while I was on the countertop.
So he penetrates you with this bottle. But you don't know how he got the bottle, right?
That is correct.
Kamil je carica, ko jo sprašuje detajle, ker je to lagala, si jih ne bo mogla
The
zapomniti.
exact sequence of those events.
We'll get to the sequence. And while he was on 8 to 10 MDMA pills, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about the sequence. This is the sequence of events you testified to in this courtroom. That he smashed the phone to smithereens and then assaulted you, lost the tip of his finger, and then assaulted you with a bottle. Yes? That's the sequence of events that you testified to in this courtroom.
To be clear, you're putting it in order when you say words like then. I have never claimed that I can remember the exact sequence of these things. This was a multi-day assault that took place over 3 horrible days.
Ms. Hurd,
Ms.
Hurd, we're not talking, Ms. Hurd,
Exact
that's not my
sequence.
question. My question isn't about the 3-day assault, allegedly, that occurred. I'm just talking about the sexual assault that you now allege occurred.
Yes,
Okay?
correct.
Let's talk about the sequence. So you testified. Actually, yeah, I know.
Če samo en član porote verjame, take so pravila. Preprosto, če en čez prste pogleda, če en verjame, da jo je Johnny kadarkoli psihično ranil, kakorkoli se je dotaknil, ker je velika verjetnost, da bo konc koncev, je ona že zmagala. In potem ga ona že v rikvrt tož po tem za 100 milijonov. Tako tega ne bo kmalu konc, po vsej verjetnosti.
Sir, do you have a copy of day 16 in front of you?
Day 16? Yes, of my
Court
deposition?
transcript? Yes. No, of the court transcript from this trial. Yes.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Okay.
Ne bi rekla, da gre za to, da smo ženske, princeske, moški, ne vem kaj. Preprosto gre za to, da je to bolana ženska in v njenem primeru vse druge normalne ženske žrtve, ki so to doživele, bo imele manjšo možnost, da so slišane. Opala, pardon. Ta v beli majici je pa Camille Vasquez, od Johnnyja odvetnica. Odlična odvetnica in noro dobro igre. Čakamo, da se Amber Third zmeša in da popizdi. To zdaj čakamo. Čakamo, da njena prava, da pravi karakter pride ven, ker je pač psiho. Ne se ne. Borderline personality pa neke vrste narcis.
Okay. And the reason that we need to go stand these are very serious allegations that you're making, right?
It was horrible. What happened to me, yes.
Okay, so let's go through them. Page 4506, line 2 through 3. I sit here now. Apologize. You testified on page 4506. This all started when Mr. Depp took 8 or 10 pills of MDMA, right?
That is correct.
Then, directing your attention to page 4518. Line 19. You talk about Mr. Depp smashing a wall-mounted phone, correct?
That is correct.
Then on page 4519, at line 3, you testified that while Mr. Depp is smashing the phone, he is screaming, quote, "I fucking hate you," end quote. Right?
Yes, he was screaming that, among other things.
And further down on page 4519, same page, lines 12 through 19, you talk about how you watched Mr. Depp smash the phone to smithereens, right?
That is correct.
Then, continuing on the same page, 4519, line 20, you say something really important. Quote, at some point, he's on top of me. No phone, but screaming the same thing, end quote. Right?
I just remember the sound, yes.
But you remember, and you testified to this jury, that he didn't have the phone in his hand anymore.
When he was assaulting me with the bottle,
Right.
he had the bottle in his hand. When he was punching the wall with the phone, he had the phone in his hand. When he was punching the wall next to my head, he had me by the throat. He did a lot of things that night.
So you're acknowledging, by this sequence, not my words, your words, Ms. Heard, that you testified to this jury that Mr. Depp smashed the phone to smithereens before he assaulted you. That's the way, that's the sequencing in which you testified, correct?
I have never testified to a sequence.
Okay.
Zdaj, tako, med vsakim sojenjem nastaja transkripcija. To pomeni, da nekdo dobesedno vse tipka, kar kdorkoli pove, vpraša in odgovori. In zdaj za te besede pač vlečejo, ker je to laži, da jim ne sledi.
Okay.
Ok, zdaj me izgleda spet nek posvet, pa lahko odgovorim. Torej, trenutno se dogaja cross-examination, kar pomeni, da Amber sprašujejo odvetniki od Johnnyja, kar pomeni, da jo probajo zjebati, da probajo od nje izvleči laži, da probajo priti do resnice, da probajo Johnnyju spucati ime. In tale Camille je vrhunska pač, ona zdaj sprašuje Amber, predvsem jo proba uloviti na njene laži, ker je toliko nabijala, ona ima po moje vse skupaj 20 do 30 izmišljenih zgodbic, ki se niso zgodile. Johnnyju ni problem slediti temu, kar se je zgodilo in povedati to na sodišču, ker je bil pač tam, ker se je zgodilo. Amber se je čisto zapletla v svoje laži in se niti ne spomne stvari. Ne spomne se jih in ne more lepo odgovarjati. A za Johnnyja velja isto, da če en reče, da je Amber kriva, pol zmaga. Ne. Ne, zato ker je Johnny tožil Amber in on v bistvu dokazuje svojo resnico oziroma svojo nedolžnost sodišču, a ne? In če nekdo dokaže, da je on kriv, če samo en delček porote verjame, en človek iz porote verjame, da je Johnny kriv, ona zmaga.
Page 4521, starting at line 3. You testified to being bent over backwards on the bar, right?
That is correct.
And then feeling pressure on your pubic bone like Mr. Depp was punching you. Yes?
That's what I thought.
And then further down on page 4521 and on to 4522, you testified that you were concerned Mr. Depp was using a broken bottle on you. Yes?
That was my fear.
Okay.
That's what I remember feeling.
And sir, I'm going to show you Defendant's Exhibit 1816. Which has already been admitted.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You saw this picture during your direct examination, right?
I did.
And you testified that this is a picture of the bottles that were next to Mr. Depp on a desk when you found him drinking in the morning, right?
That's correct.
And this was the morning after Mr. Depp had allegedly sexually assaulted you, right?
It was the morning after he did assault me. Yes.
And if I understood your testimony correctly, you testified that this is the Maker's Mark bottle that Mr. Depp sexually assaulted you with.
I was never sure it was, but it was definitely that shape. It felt like that shape.
But you testified in this courtroom that you had not seen this bottle until Ben King provided these photographs, correct?
And not in the course of the trial, I hadn't seen the photograph.
Felt like that shape, yeah. Kot da čutila, kjer oblike je. That's what she
You
said.
claim you had serious injuries after this alleged incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Depends on what you would call serious. For me, having a sore jaw and some bruises at the time of my relationship wasn't that serious.
Let's testify. Let's focus on the testimony that you gave about the injuries. Mr. Depp, as you testified yesterday, wears rings on every finger, right?
Sometimes, often.
Vsakmo.
And certainly in the later part of our relationship, that was more normal than not. But if he's filming or something like that, of course, he's not going to have his own jewelry on.
In on trdi, da jo non-stop pretepal skoraj vsak dan in nikdar ni imela nobene črnice, čeprav ima največje možne prste vse čas na prstih. Prsto ne.
You need to put your microphone on, Miss.
Objection, Your Honor.
Tale sodnica od Amber več čas pozabila vključiti mikrofon.
Objection.
Thank you.
A
So yesterday was, quote, I don't know if I've ever known Johnny not to wear rings. Right,
That's,
Ms. Hurd?
that's what I testified to, yes.
And he was wearing rings on every finger in Australia, correct?
Not all the time, not literally every single ring, every single day, but he often wears rings.
Not often, Ms. Hurd. Your words are, I've never known Johnny not to wear rings on every finger.
That is what I testified to.
Okay. And you testified that you bled as a result of this sexual assault, correct?
That is correct.
And you testified that your forearms were cut.
My forearms and my feet.
And your feet were sliced up.
That's correct.
And you testified you got a bruise across your jaw.
That is correct.
And there's not a single medical record reflecting treatment for any of those injuries, is there, Ms. Hurd?
I didn't seek treatment.
Bale, ker cela boš krvava, porezana, raztolčena, plava, nos bo smela polomljena in ne bo šla do zdravnika. Definitivno, ja.
Well, he came the third day along with security.
The day after you sustained these injuries, this Dr. David Kipper came along with nurse Debbie Lloyd, correct?
Well, that fight went into the morning, like early hour morning, so technically that last day.
Dr. David Kipper is Mr. Duff's, or was Mr. Duff's physician, right?
I believe he still is.
But he
Yes.
was at the time.
Yes, that's correct.
And he was also your physician.
He also saw me.
Dobro vprašanje je vmes, zakaj sploh še sodijo, če je glasovni video zun, ki je njega z vrati počela, pol mu je pa šamar dala. Ja, ona je njega tepla in ja, ona to dejansko prizna, kot da ga je tepla v samo obrambi. Ampak to sploh ni vprašanje tega sojenja, to ni pomembno. Pomembno je samo, da Johnny dokaže, da njo on nikdar ni udaril. Edini na ta način Johnny zmaga, vse ostalo ni pomembno v tem sojenju. Sojenja so zelo specifične, natančne stvari, zato je velika verjetnost, da ona zmaga. Ker če samo en član porote njej verjame, da je Johnny njo vsaj enkrat udaril ali karkoli podobnega, je zmagala. V tem je problem.
Thank you.
Koliko na dan je sojenje? Po moje tam 8+. Kakor zavlečejo kdaj. Tudi že do 1-2 zjutraj je bilo. Ponavadi se konča med 11 pa 12 zvečer po noč.
We're going to play Ms. Hurd's deposition for the jury, lines day 2, page 540, lines 6 through 9. We have permission to publish it.
Ne, ona dva nista v zaporu, itak da ne.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, day 2, page 589, lines 6 through 8.
Could you just give us a minute to get
Of course.
589?
David, tako kot sem že fulkrat rekla, zaradi tega, ker je Johnny tožil njo, rab prepričati ona samo enega člana porote. Tako pač je pravila.
Lines 6 through 8.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
And he was your doctor at this point, right?
Yes, he was.
Aha.
Debbie Lloyd also came to the house that day.
Yes, she came with Kipper.
Miss Lloyd is a nurse, correct?
That is correct.
Malcolm Connolly also came to the house that day.
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Connolly is one of the security guards, correct?
That is correct.
You had known Mr. Connolly for years at that point.
Yes, that's correct.
You flew back to Los Angeles the next day with Ben King. Is that right?
I can't be certain if it was the next day or the day after, but somewhere around there, yes.
And the day you arrived back in Los Angeles, you saw Travis McGivern, correct?
I don't recall seeing Travis, no.
You don't recall Mr. McGivern picking you up from the airport with Ben King?
I don't remember that, no.
And the same day, you also saw your own nurse, Erin Filati, that day, correct? The day you arrived in Los Angeles?
I don't recall if I saw her that day.
You saw Miss Filati's testimony in this case by a video deposition, correct?
That is correct.
And you heard her testify that she saw you the day you arrived back from Australia on March 9th, 2015.
I believe she testified that she came to dinner where I was with friends. Yeah, I believe that.
So she saw you that day.
I believe that evening I saw her at dinner.
And then you saw Erin Filati again the next day for a private meeting, didn't you?
I'm not sure if that's what she testified to. I'd have to just see the records to know.
You heard her testify according to her notes. She met with you privately on March 10th, 2015.
She met with me at some point upon my arrival, but I don't remember the exact date.
And when you were in Australia, Ms. Heard, you didn't take any pictures of the injuries you claim to have sustained, right?
I did not take any pictures, no.
But you did take 2 pictures.
Of the mirrors, I took.
Sem poslušala enega odvetnika, zakaj ne uporabljajo detektorja laži. Zaradi tega, ker je še vedno velikrat lahko napačen, preprosto iz razloga, ker so nekateri konstantni lažnivci, ko se že temu reče compulsive liars, kar pomeni, da jim je toliko navadno lagati, da preprosto tega več ne zaznajo te detektorji in preprosto pridejo čez. In Amber, mislim, da je velika verjetnost, ka sama sebi verjame svojim lažem, da bi prišla čez, ko da nima smisla, da pa verjameš detektorju laži.
I only know that because there was blood and as well as paint.
So you took this picture after Mr. Depp had injured his fingers, correct?
This was while I was packing, when I was leaving.
That's a
when I
yes,
took the
right,
photo.
Ms. Heard?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
You took this picture after Mr. Depp had injured his finger.
That's correct.
And you took this picture after you had allegedly been assaulted by Mr. Depp, yes?
That's correct.
Yeah, you
Okay.
didn't capture yourself in the mirror, did you?
I don't see myself in the mirror, no.
Let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 375. You took this picture as well, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And this is from one of the bathroom mirrors in Australia?
That's correct.
Ta gospod zraven Johnnyja je njegov odvetnik, ne vem zakaj se mi zdi, da je glavni odvetnik, ime mu je Ben Chu in je legenda.
Mr. Depp.
That's correct.
You didn't capture yourself in the mirror in this picture either, did you?
I do not see myself in the mirror in that picture.
Is that because you didn't have any visible injuries on you?
It's because I was taking a picture of the writing.
Good point.
Let's talk about the writing on this mirror. So the writing in black paint is from Mr. Depp, correct?
It's all from Mr. Depp.
And it's your testimony under oath that you did not write the red text that says, quote, "Call Carly Simon, she said it better, babe," end quote.
That's correct.
Because if you did write that, it means that your husband was walking around the house bleeding from his amputated finger, and you're writing snarky messages to him on a mirror, right?
I don't know what your question to me is. I'm sorry.
Koliko je Amber spremenila odnos? Prej je bila jokica,
Let's take a
žrtvica,
look at
zdaj pa
Defendant's
koliko je
Exhibit
arogantna.
180. And I believe this picture is also admitted into evidence. This is a picture of the same mirror, right?
That's correct.
But you didn't take this picture.
No, I did not.
This is the one that Ben King took.
And I don't see him in the mirror either.
I don't believe he claimed he had injuries, though. Is that right?
I did not hear Ben King talk about his injuries, no.
Okay. So you would agree, Ms. Heard, that the black text on the mirror says, quote, "She loves naked photos of herself. So modern, so hot."
I had not read that yet. I mean, before, but yeah, that's what it says.
But you were taking pictures of the text, but you had not read that before?
I haven't seen this. It didn't make sense to me at the time when I read it.
Če bom do konca streamala, zelo dvomim iz razloga, ker po moje od Amber cross-examination ne bo več toliko dolgo trajal in pa, ker pridejo na vrsto druge priče, ne bo več toliko zanimiv, ker zdaj, da Amber scufajo, je definitivno najboljši del.
Saying the song "You're So Vain," right?
I was told that.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Depp was writing messages to himself in the mirror back and forth.
The best I can describe it is it looked like a crazy conversation. It was on the walls, it was
With
on
himself.
lampshades, it was on cushions.
It's your
With
testimony
himself.
about crazy conversations with himself.
That's what it looked like from the bloody messages I found.
And you would agree with me that in this photograph, the red text has been smudged with black paint, right?
Yes.
Valjda Johnny se sam s sabo pogovarjal na steklu. Na katero psihološko motnjo me spominja? Ne, da me spominja, ona je skoraj ziher, vse jo je ena psihologinja označila z histrionic personality disorder, ker je zelo podoben narcisu, in pa borderline personality disorder. Vse to pa več v naslednjem videu.
I'm not quite sure what was happening when Ben took his photograph, no.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 343, which is already in evidence, and play the portion from 1:57:21 through 1:58:54. It's a recording, Your Honor.
Anže, welcome to Alien Gang.
It's nothing. It's just to get out of a bad situation while it's happening before it gets worse. In Australia, when we had the big fight where I lost the tip of my finger, at least 5 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms I went to
avoid talking to me.
To escape the fight.
You don't escape the fight, you escape the solution.
No.
You escape the solution.
No.
You escape figuring it out. We cannot work it out if you run away to the bathroom every time.
Listen to me. Listen to me. A boxer can't go 12 rounds without a fucking minute break.
I'm not giving you a minute break. You do it at minute 3 at the beginning of an argument.
No. There are rounds, man. And when it gets too fucking hairy, the ref splits them apart or whatever. But all I'm saying is, you can't have a solution if the argument just keeps mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting.
Johnny po moje zdrži vas to sojenje, ker je svoje, se meni zdi dosegel. Dosegel je to, da ga imamo nazaj radi, pa da ima svoj ugled. Da ga ne več jebe v glavo v ozadju vsega.
I go split again, I go to another fucking bathroom or a bedroom or something. Knock, 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 bang, bang, bang. You kept coming to get me.
This is what really happened in Australia, isn't it, Miss Heard?
I did knock on a bathroom door on the first night.
Not a bathroom door, 5 bathroom doors and 2 bedrooms.
Johnny is not an accurate historian of what happened during
Miss Heard,
that period of time. I'll guarantee
Miss
you.
Heard, that's not my question. 5 bathroom doors.
Johnny se
2 bedrooms.
smeje, kako je cute.
That's what actually happened in Australia, isn't it, Miss Heard?
Kako se potrudi, da jo ne pogleda v oči, ker je obljubil, da jo nikdar več ne bo pogledal v oči. Žrtev. Telen živijo in živijo tudi.
Miss Heard,
Anže.
strike everything after I knocked on 1 bathroom door.
Do that, she's answering the question.
But not quite, so I will sustain the objection. Just answer the question, okay?
The recording we just listened to, that's exactly what happened in Australia. Mr. Depp lost the tip of his finger after you threw a bottle at him. Isn't that right?
That is incorrect.
You're the one who assaulted someone with a bottle in Australia. Isn't that right, Miss Heard?
I didn't assault Johnny in Australia. I didn't assault Johnny ever. I couldn't.
And then after he was injured, he had to hide from you, right?
That is incorrect.
5 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms.
That is incorrect.
And you would pursue him.
That is incorrect.
Because he was avoiding talking to you, right?
He did that first night when
he was
I tried to talk to him about the drugs.
And he was avoiding working it out.
No, he was avoiding...
Johnny je tipična žrtva, on se veš čas samo umikal tem situacijam, kjer je potencial, da se ona dva kakorkoli ranta. Ona mu pa ni pustila preč. Tipičen histrionic borderline, zaradi tega, ker ne prenese tega, da ni pozornost na njej in da ni drame.
That night in Australia, after you cut off his finger with a bottle, you weren't scared of him at all, were you?
This is a man who tried to kill me. Of course it's scary.
Polona, ciao.
Mr. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 371.
Amir, welcome. Kakšno vlogo imajo tisti v zadnji, ki poslušajo? Kakor jaz vem, je to samo preprosta random publika. Nič drugega. Več ali manj fani od Johnnyja, ker na koncu mu vsi tako mahajo, ker pride pa gre. Full cute.
If we could scroll down, please. No.
Ms. Broderhoff, if you don't have your microphone on, I cannot hear you. You still don't have it on.
Redacted. Oh. I need to take a look at the unredacted from it. Just bear with me.
I'm not admitting that into evidence yet. I would like to just talk to the witness.
Sodnica od Amber skozi pozabila vključiti mikrofon, ki ima ugovore. Non-stop, stari moj.
Mr. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 371. Do you recognize these text messages between you and Dr. Cowan?
I don't recognize these, no.
Who's Dr. Cowan?
He was my therapist that was recommended to me from Dr. Kip.
Recimo, a odvetniki od Amber vejo, kaj se je v resnici naredil ali? To sploh ni njihov job. Načeloma, en odvetnik je komentiral, da načeloma ne, oziroma njihova poklicna dolžnost je pač verjeti njihovi priči / žrtvi. Sploh ni važno, kaj oni verjamejo, za njo se morajo boriti in sploh ne sprašujejo dejstvu, ok, pač za njih je to resnica, kar Amber reče. Ker drugače nima smisla, da delajo za njo, a ne?
Your text messages aren't great, correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that she show her the unredacted so that she can see the text exchange back and forth if she wants to talk
Absolutely.
about
All right, we'll pull that up.
unredacted
Sure.
later.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll pull it up.
Ja, Johnny več noče v
Seeing
Piratih
these
Karibov,
unredacted messages, does this refresh your
ker so ga
recollection
tako grdo
these are
odpustili.
indeed communications between you and Dr. Cowan?
Niti noče več v Fantastic Beasts.
Yes, that's correct.
Doctor, your text messages are in gray, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Dr. Cowan's are in blue?
That is correct.
You see the text message at the bottom of the page from March 8th, 2015 at 8:29 p.m.?
Yes, that's correct.
March 8th is the day that you were allegedly sexually assaulted by Mr. Depp in Australia, correct?
That is correct.
So on March 8th, 2015, you were in Australia,
That is correct.
and Mr. Depp's finger had just been cut off, right?
That is correct.
And you write to Dr. Cowan, quote, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change," end quote. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
You weren't able to change, were you, Miss Heard?
I very much wanted to leave the relationship I was in, but I didn't.
Nekdo je napisal, da kdo v tej publiki bi sploh podpiral Amber, razen njene familije pa prijateljev. Realno tudi to ne. Na koncu, preden njena mami umrla, je baje potegnila skupaj z Johnnyjem in pa Amber je tudi po vsej verjetnosti tepla svojo lastno sestro, tako da nimam pojma, kdo drži z njo na tej točki. Pa vse v drek poriva na vsaki točki, ki lahko.
Your Honor, I object because she has left out the next two lines from Ms. Heard that clarify even further, and I also think
Ms.
that
Brennahoff,
Dr. Cowan's...
Could you
Your
show
Honor,
me
may
just-
we
yeah,
please
that's
approach?
fine.
This is...
Kaj Amber pije, kaj take čudne barve? Aj freaking pojma nimam, ampak vem, da so vsi zabavajo z tega. Kao, kad ni jasen, da tako pink pijačo nosi s sabo. Po moje neke čudne vitamine ali kakšne droge, da jo gor držijo, ne vem, stari moj. I don't know. 2 meseca bo še sojenje, ja, poj, če bo tis naprej, ka ona njega nazaj sod za 100 milijonov, poj ne bo kratko kmal konc. Jaz si to kavo želim, vi nimate pojma, koliko si zdaj kavo želim. Sanam to kavo, ampak če grem dol nočem, da vam bo dolgo čas. Čeprav mogoče v te veselje, da boste pauzo od mene. Une druge frizure, ki jih je imel Johnny, so bile boljše. A misliš, da je imel spuščene ali kva? Ker zdaj meni s tem očapkom je cool. Meni se zdi, da od začetka sojenja, to je še nek drug fol govoril, da od začetka sojenja je šel njej videz ful na dol, njemu pa ful na gor. Kada je on zacvetel, ko je nazaj dušo dobil, ona pa umira počas po obrokih, ker je skozi bolj čudna pa boga. Sabo nas vzem na kavo, ne moram, ker imam to kamero tle. OMFG, kakva prasica, yes, I know. I know. Kombuča bom. Kombuča. Ta zadnjo imam. Kombučico. Ful ima tole čuden, tle gor z... Amber nima nobene podpore. Mislim, da zdaj njene priče pridejo na vrsto, bomo zelo kmalu videli, koliko ima podpore. Jaz pojma nimam, kdo ne bi bil podpora. Vemo pa, da Elon Musk in pa James Franco, oba, mislim, igralec Franco, pa Elon Musk, pač ta najbogatejši Američan, če se ne motim, ne bosta baje pričala. In jih tudi razumem, za freaking kaj ne bosta pričala.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit Defense Exhibit 371 as redacted.
All right, 371 in evidence as redacted. Over objection. Yes, ma'am.
If you can publish that to the jury, thank you. So you write, Ms. Heard, to Dr. Cowan, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change." right?
And I said I clearly can't figure this out, meaning the relationship.
You didn't say that. You said
I did.
not the relationship. Your text messages, clearly I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now.
What I was saying to him
No,
is clearly I can't
Miss
figure
Heard,
this
Miss
out.
Heard, that's not my question. The text. Just the text.
Koliko je dober bremza,
What you texted.
carica.
Clearly, I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now.
That's
That's
what I was saying.
Okay. Thank you.
Elon po mojem ni najbogatejši na svetu, to je nemogoče. Je pa v Ameriki. Ali pa še to ne vem.
So those two
Ful ne
next
vem.
lines did come in.
They are in the redacted.
Okay, good.
Ne, Amber ni priprta, noben od njiju ni niti približen.
Mr. You contend that there's another
Upam, da bo.
incident of abuse in March of 2015 after you and Mr. Depp returned from Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this incident took place on March 23rd, 2015?
That's correct.
And this supposedly occurred in the penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building?
That's correct.
You had found text messages between Mr. Depp and another woman, right?
That is correct.
So you confronted him about cheating on you.
That's correct.
And this was about 2 weeks after you had returned from Australia.
That's correct.
So this is shortly after Mr. Depp supposedly sexually assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was 2 weeks after he assaulted me, yes.
And you decided to confront him about cheating on you?
Koliko je možnosti, da gre kdo v njiju v zapor? Za Amber trenutno, če jo ujamejo na lažeh pod za prisego, odvisen od velikosti te laži, ima možnost. Po moje prej mesece kot kar leta, ampak mislim, da je možnost. In to bi noro prvo šlo, da jo nekaj prezemlji.
Skin graft?
I'm not quite sure. He had several different procedures and they were kind of spread out over a period of time, so I don't remember what happened and
One
when
of those
exactly.
procedures was to treat the MRSA that got on his finger too, right?
At some point, I knew he had an infection.
And his right hand was in a bandage, right?
It was casted.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Depp was able to attack both you and your sister with his hand in that state, right?
That is correct. He had a hard plaster cast on it.
Debbie Lloyd was present in the penthouses when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you claim that Mr. Depp threw a Red Bull can at Miss Lloyd that evening.
Yes, that's correct.
And you put in a sworn statement to that effect in the UK case, right?
That is correct.
But that's not true, is it?
That's what happened.
You know what a deposition is, right, Ms. Heard?
I've had several, yes.
Yeah, so you know it's when someone provides testimony under oath.
That is correct.
You're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case, correct?
That's true.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial, right?
I'm going to take time to maybe approach.
All right.
Ti zadaj niso priče, je nekdo vprašal, to so samo publika. Priče prihajajo čist posebej not ful varovano, s policistom, če se ne motam, da zihar ne govori z nikomur, da prej ne posluša sojenja in tako naprej. Priče so zelo ločena stvar od te publike. Kaj zgleda Amber izgubljeno? Ja, ful skače iz tistega ponosa, pa tega, da se zdaj že ful bran, pa poje na to, da je spet malo žrtvo igra, ki se spomne vmes. Ampak ne more drugače, da je ta agresija pa je za ven sekata, ker ima ful tega oseb. In se čuti, ko je nekdo postav pred dejstva, tako zdaj tale sodnica, ven
You know
seka.
it's when someone provides testimony under oath, right?
That's correct.
And you're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case.
That's correct.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial.
Yes.
So you heard Miss Lloyd testify under oath, and Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her.
I can't remember if she didn't recall that or if she said it didn't happen. I don't remember.
Koliko začne vsakeč trukirati, kaj laže? Vedno. Vedno trukira,
So
kaj
it's your
laže.
testimony that Miss Lloyd would forget that Mr. Depp, a very famous patient of hers, threw a can of Red Bull that nearly missed her, according to your version of events?
To be fair, I just don't remember if she said when she testified that she didn't recall that incident or if it didn't happen. I don't remember what she testified to. But I have a vague sense that she didn't recall much at all.
She recalled, and she testified in this courtroom, that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her. That was her testimony, wasn't it?
I don't recall what her testimony was. with regards to that one incident, no.
You actually filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license right before she was supposedly deposed in this case, didn't you?
No, I don't believe I did.
Are you aware that someone filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license in connection with her care of Mr. Depp for failing to report abuse?
No, I had no idea. You're the first person to let me know about that.
It's your testimony under oath, that wasn't you?
That is my testimony. I didn't even know about that until now.
Ooh. Travis McGivern was also present when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you, correct?
He walked
Johnny se smeje.
And you heard his testimony that it was actually you who punched Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
It's always been my own testimony that I hit Johnny.
And you who was throwing things at Mr. Depp.
I hit him in defense of my sister. I didn't have anything to throw at him. I never threw anything at him. I hit him when he attacked me and my sister.
Koliko ta ženska laže?
For her. That's when I hit him.
Vsi lažejo razen nje
It's
po
your
njenem.
testimony under oath. You threw nothing at Mr. Depp. And Mr. McGivern's lying.
I have thrown things at Johnny.
No,
To be clear,
not
not that
throwing things.
occasion.
That evening.
Not that occasion. Not on that occasion.
It's your testimony, Mr. McGivern. Imagine that you were throwing things at Mr. Depp from the mezzanine level down towards where Mr. Depp and Mr. McGivern were standing.
Well, he certainly wasn't going to say it about his client.
Miss Heard, you and Mr. Depp kept a journal together, didn't you?
Imela fanta lušnega, zakaj ga zapusti? Definitivno, Amber, zakaj si to zajebala? Johnny, a freaking Deppa si zajebala.
If we could please pull
Captain
up
Jack
Plaintiff's Exhibit
Sparrow.
91. I'm only going to be showing you certain portions of this, so if we could please call this Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A.
Meni bi bilo perfekt, da Amber po tem sojenju obupa in reče, umikam uno tožbo za 100 milijonov, pač, I'm just fucked up, I'm out.
Journal entries that you made in the journal, correct?
In ne vem, kje bo dobila 50 milijonov, 100 milijonov, noč mi ni jasno. Je kar samo za... Očitno res verjela vase prej. Zdaj že jaz imam upanje, da zgubi. Oh my god.
I'm going to move for the admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A, and I've gone ahead and redacted Mr. Depp's writings as on hearsay grounds.
I'm going to object to removing it.
Amber pije serum laži. Ne, verita serum resnice, ampak serum laži. Da lahko v nedogled laže, tako po 8 ur na dan, po 2 tedna skoro. Zato je pa začela zdaj toliko več pit, kakor prej. Pink ting. Stopljen led z barvilom od Malinci. Oh my god, legenda. By the way, Alenka 10, vse pri Malinci, tudi znižene stvari. Legenda. Zdaj on toži njo, ali ona njega. On toži njo, ker je napisala članek v Washington Post, oziroma celo kolumno o tem, kako jo je bivši mož tepel in s tem mu je zjebala ugled. Dala je pa to ven lih malo pred dejanskim izidom Ambermana. Aquamana, zato da je pač bolj ven usekala takrat, ne? Ampak, joj, nekaj jim je crknal. Ja, jaz če bi se poročila z njim, ga bi hodila probat, ne se ločiti, ja, exactly. Jenny je nasilna sodeč po alkoholu in zaužitem kokainu. Ona je tudi kokain imela. In to, da ješ pa piješ droge, nima veze s tem, da si avtomatično nasilen, niti približen.
Sorry, Judy. Let's write it down first.
Ja, to kaže, da ne more slediti lastnim lažem. Bizarno, res. Jaz bi prav plačal karto za let, da bi šel tja pa osebno čestital Deppu. Jaz tudi pač... Krasno se drži, res. Top.
This is a picture That's on the inside cover of the Love notebook, correct?
That's correct.
And this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp?
That's correct.
And you're in Australia in this picture, aren't you?
Yes, but that's much later once we returned.
You can see that Mr. Depp's right hand is bandaged, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was after it had recovered.
I got the jar of dirt. I got the jar of
dirt. We were just talking about.
So this is a picture after the events in Australia in March of 2015, correct?
Yes, that photograph was taken months later.
Can you have the jury look at that photograph again, please?
To je po incidentu, ko mu je ona vrgla flašo v prst in mu odbila konico prsta.
Let's now turn to page 3.
Zakaj je to live? Dobro vprašanje. V Ameriki jim je samo umevno, da so te stvari že v 1980 nekje live, zaradi tega, ker je fair, da kao pač se država skupaj odloča oziroma ljudje, ker so del tega na nek način. Pri nas pa to baje še delamo na tem in tudi bo s časoma.
22nd, 2015, correct?
That is correct. That was during our honeymoon period.
This is just a little bit over 2 months after the events in Australia in March of 2015, right?
That's correct. We were back in a honeymoon phase. That was the period of sobriety I spoke about yesterday.
When after Mr. Depp had allegedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was after the stairs and it was after the Australia incident, yes. And he got clean and sober and we went back to Australia.
It's also 2 months after you punched Mr. Depp because you allegedly thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs, right?
I hit him when he swung at my sister. And this is written months later, yes.
You thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney, and I had heard a rumor, a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
This first message to Mr. Depp in the journal, you write, quote, "True love isn't about just the madness of passion or instead picking the safety of peace. No, it's about having both, falling madly in love with your friend. That is what has surprised me perhaps most. That I have seen in you the true bones of friendship and respect. But of course, I still, perhaps more than ever, want to rip you apart, devour you, and savor the taste. Fret not. XX Slim."
Yes, it's a love note.
Ok, love note, whatever. To, ko smo zdaj omenili Kate Moss, je najboljša stvar ever, zaradi tega, ker s tem, da jo je Amber omenila par dni nazaj na sojenju, je dala nekako povabilo odvetnikom od Johnnyja, da Kate Moss prevedejo na sodišče in da ona priča, da se nič od tega ni zgodilo, da on njo ni porinil po stopnicah, ker je bila res samo govorica. In v tem primeru so vsi bivši prepovedani. To je bil dogovor na začetku oziroma pravilo. In zdaj, ko je ona omenila, enega izmed bivših je dala možnost vsem drugim bivšim, da se vključijo v ta sojenje, ker jih je opletla. In tudi bivša od Amber, ki jo dejansko po vsej verjetnosti je tepla, da ne govorimo o Elonu Musku pa Jamesonu Frankotu.
It would be a couple weeks before your birthday, though, right?
That's correct.
Just to confirm, this is a note you wrote to Mr. Depp, right?
That's what it looks like, yes.
And on the second page of this note, you wrote the following.
Pa kako je bil Ben Chu zadovoljen odvetnik od Johnnyja zdajle? She's happy.
I'm sorry I hurt you. Like you, I can get wicked when I am hurt, when I feel provoked, shattered. And last night I was. I felt abandoned about the Lily Rose thing, felt absolutely bewildered about your not coming home on my last night here, and was heartbroken and angry after many attempts in vain on my part to rectify the situation and make amends on the last night of what was otherwise a gorgeous trip with you. I'm so sorry for my part. None of this is meant to be an excuse for hurting you, because the truth is, nothing is. There's never a reason good enough to hurt you. You are the last thing in the whole world who deserves it. Last person I ever meant to hurt. I love you, Steve. I am forever yours, Slim. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
Steve.
Mr. Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 423, which is already...
The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. Tega se spomnim iz Captain's Cabin iz... Dober quote.
This is a picture of you with what appears to be straight red marks on your arms, correct?
Those are scars from the broken glass.
And they're straight and red, right?
I disagree with how you characterize that, but they are red, yes.
And they're on your left arm?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Hurd, you have a history of cutting yourself, don't you?
I do not.
You cut your arm once as a teenager, isn't that right?
No, I said I wanted to. When I was put on birth control pills when I was a teenager, I felt crazy, and I said I felt suicidal.
Since your testimony under oath that you didn't report to Dr. Hughes, your retained psychologist, that you had cut yourself as a teenager once?
I said I had told my mom that I wanted to when I was a teenager.
Kako je drugače ta ženska bolano lepa, ali pa lepa bila, pač res, da se greš toliko zjebat life. Lejte to faco, mislim, halo.
Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
That was when you and Mr. Depp went on your honeymoon trip, correct?
That's correct.
And that was in July of 2015?
Yes, that sounds right.
Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, which is already in evidence. You were here in this courtroom, right?
Let's
Heard when
join
Malcolm
it
Conley
for the pen.
testified to taking this picture.
That's correct.
This is the picture. This picture shows an injury to Mr. Depp's face, doesn't it?
I disagree. I've seen this picture.
Okay, Ms. Hurd,
I've seen
I got
this
the
picture
answer. Thank
before, and
You
he's
disagree?
not injured in it.
He's not injured in this picture. That's your testimony.
Oh my god.
This one is Photoshop.
Ms. Hurd, I have your answer. Thank you. This is the only photograph from her honeymoon that shows someone with an injury, correct?
That's not true.
We haven't seen any photos of injuries to your face from that train trip, have we?
I don't believe my face was injured on that trip.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 91A at page 46, going back to the Love Journal. This is a note from you to Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
This is a note you wrote on July 22nd, 2015.
That is correct.
And it starts off with the words, "My husband, happy honeymoon," right?
That's correct.
Ms. Hurd, please take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A at page 67. This is another note from you to Mr. Depp in your journal, right?
That is correct.
And this one is dated August 1st, 2015.
That's correct.
And you write, "That's enough. You've held this book hostage long enough. Although I can't wait to read my note, I also couldn't wait to tell you how much I adore you. What a beautiful, extraordinary, magical, memorable, wonderful, stunning, surprisingly evolving, and impulsive adventure. I couldn't have imagined a more gorgeous honeymoon. I love you more and more every passing day. XX Slim." Did I read that right?
That is correct.
Let's take a look at the journal entry starting on page 68.
Hvala, ki si med sabo razlagate, kaj se sploh dogaja na sodišču. Kdor pa res hoče detajle, ne gre pa dva moja prejšnja videa pogledati. Dva moja zadnja videa.
That is correct, yes.
And this one is a longer one, so let's go to where it ends on page 70 of the journal.
Ful me zanima, koliko časa bo še Amber na stolčku, na vročem stolčku. A bo on še cel dan ali ne? Pa zanimivo me je, da ne pride z več podočnjaki.
I hope that things said in anger and pain were just that. And that you miss and love me too. And that is what matters most to you. You may say you stand by everything you said and did, and that there is nothing you can learn from this, but I don't feel that way. And it's important for me that you know that. I love you and I'm sorry. I miss my warm, loving husband.
Definitivno hoče nazaj svojo kariero in zaradi tega predvsem on to počne, da dobi nazaj ugled, noče pa k Disneyju, ker so ga na tok brezvezen način odpustili. Bo verjetno druge stvari snemal in počel. Predvsem pa hoče ugled, ne? Predvsem ima rad svoje fane, ki jih kliče relatives, sorodniki in tako naprej.
This is another note from you to Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Johnny Depp je pa že govoril, tako da ne bo več verjeten.
So this is dated August 15th, correct?
That is correct.
And here you write, quote, "My love, why do we fight? Ever? Why? I love you more than anything else. Are we that uncomfortable with being vulnerable? Were we scared? Or is it something else?
Kakšna lepa pisava. Wow.
And if it's that I can't imagine my life without you. I love you. I will do better. I am sorry. X Slim." Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Prahifi se je prej subscribal. Hello. Nisem
That
videla.
is correct. It was primarily love notes and
apology notes from you to Mr. Depp?
The book was more of a love note book, and part of that communication, obviously, since we fought so much, it was important for me to, try to nurture as much peace as we possibly could. And when things were good, they were really good.
And it was also an opportunity for you to apologize to Mr. Depp for your behavior, isn't it?
I think it's important in every relationship to apologize when you're trying to move past fights.
Let's look at an entry from August 17, 2015, starting on page 90. Here you write, quote, "I'm sorry I shook the wheels so hard. I'm sorry we've tested the shocks and brakes to this point. God damn, I love you, Johnny. I love you. I'm tied to you forever, you know that? So I'm tasked with making this work for that reason and many others, of which there are many. Let me try to fix this. Let me try to patch this. Let me try to make your heart better. You deserve it.
Love bombing.
Maybe even I do. I need you. We need each other. You're my cornerstone, my heart, my all. You are my life. I hate it when we fight. I hate having you hurt. I hate that you're hurting. I love you more than anything. Let me prove it. I need you. I love you. Slim."
Nekdo je subscribal se.
Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, another example of me trying to fix
Gabson,
it.
hello.
I was always trying to fix it.
Fix it by apologizing for your bad behavior?
I tried it.
I was always trying to fix it. Ja, ni čuden, če skozi zajebeš, če tepeš človeka, če ga kregaš.
Couldn't change like you told Dr. Cowan, right?
I couldn't change my relationship.
Let's talk about December 15th, 2015.
Ne
then.
gram zdaj le Lego igr s neki, ne.
Aaron Filati, your personal nurse, saw you 2 days after the incident on December 15th, 2015. Isn't that right?
She did not see me as in a medical visit. She just dropped off meds late at night.
She saw you personally, though, right?
She physically saw me, but did not see me in a medical sense, the way a doctor might see a patient. She did not see me in that way.
She was your personal nurse, right?
She was a nurse assigned to me. I didn't hire her. Johnny did.
She was assigned to you, and so when she would see you, it would be physically in person in your home and traveling, correct?
She would sometimes see me as like a medical professional would, and then other times she would just drop off meds and physically see me like as in her eyes.
Jaz tudi nočem na sodišče, to je čisto
During the incident on
prezakomplicirano.
December 15th, 2015, Mr. Depp broke the bed, correct?
That is correct.
And more specifically, you described that he broke the bed frame with his boot while trying to get purchase. Is that correct?
Newbie plays, hello.
Yes, that's correct.
Hey there, guys.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 509, which is already in evidence.
Kako dobro postavo Mađanijem piše. Sem ja, deca res dobro drži, no, stari moj. Ona pa
Please
skozi
have that
hojiš.
published to the jury. Thank you.
Itak, če te živci. Tole je najbolj glede te
Sir,
posle.
this is a picture that you indicated to pick.
By the way, to je posla, ki naj bi jo Johnny z nogo podrl, to je ona pričala, ampak Mizar je gledal to, točno pozna les, točno pozna poslo, vse mu jasen in rekel, da je to freaking nemogoče, da je edina šansa, da ta les razbiješ, da ga z unmu žezlom not zabiješ, nekmu špičasmu in potem odbiješ to dol. S čevlom freaking no way. No way. Laž.
I could feel him slipping.
Mr. Do you also testify that there was blood all over the pillows on the bed, correct?
On the pillow top, yes. That's correct.
But you didn't take a picture of that, though, did you?
I did not take a picture of this.
About a week after the December 15th, 2015 incident, you went with Mr. Depp and his children to the island of the Bahamas. Is that correct? To celebrate Christmas?
The incident was on the 15th and we went on the 23rd, I believe.
While you were there, you did a photo shoot with Greg Williams, correct?
A few days later, I think the photo shoot was about 2 weeks after this assault.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 99.
Delic, hello
This is a
Delic.
photograph of you on Mr. Depp's island shortly after December 15th, 2015, correct?
No, this was taken weeks later.
On the island, on that trip?
It was taken on the island.
Zakaj je pogledal svojo desno? Zaradi tega, ker edina stvar, ki odloča na tem sojenju, je 7-članska porota in ta porota sedi na tja, kamor ona gleda non-stop. Namesto da bi gledala odvetnico, to je tako, easy disrespectful, pač bad.
New Year's Eve.
And this is the photo shoot with Greg Williams.
Johnny to delal spet.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
No objection?
All right, 99, we publish.
O Bože, začuvaj. Photoshoot. Joj, huda je bila nekaj. Ampak ja.
Can we please have a zoom into Miss Hurd's face?
Ma se nič ne viče po tej to foto.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 100.
A je to delo spet, a?
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
No objection.
All right, 100 in evidence, you can publish.
Miss Hurd, this is another picture of you from that photo shoot, correct?
Pa kakšen potato photoshoot so to? Že takrat smo imeli dobre kamere, kaj pa je fora?
Weeks later.
Right. If we could zoom in on Miss Hurd's face. Thank you, Tom.
Hey, by the way, bolano, koliko vas gleda tako?
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 101.
Tle se vidi, da nima črnic. Jaz mislim na tej točki, da ima Amber superpower, pač lahko je pretepena do onemoglosti, ampak nima črnic, to je kar hud superpower. Ulej, John ima rumeno pijačo. Jaz
From
bi
the photo shoot,
to
Miss Hurd,
probala.
that was taken on the island.
This is the same photo shoot, yes.
Then no objection, Your Honor.
All right, 101 in evidence, you can publish.
Kjer baby je bila tle Amber? Fuck. Johnny še pa tudi pol mlajšo najde. Težko se
Zoom
to
in
dobro
and see
konča.
through Tom on Miss Hurd's face. Is your testimony, Miss Hurd, that you were wearing makeup for this photo shoot?
That is correct. It's a photo shoot.
If we could please pull up Exhibit 102.
Retro kamera, ja, basically.
Miss Hurd, is this another picture from the photo shoot?
I can't exactly tell from the background. It looks like the same thing, but I can't really tell.
On pije serum resnice, ona pa serum leži.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
All right, any objection?
I'm not going to object because she identified herself. I just, if she could identify when.
Koliko časa je že trajalo v teku? Mislim, da 3 tedne, pa še ne 2 do 3 tedne bo vsaj.
102 in evidence, you can publish.
To je naravno stanje in naravni habitat Amber Heard. She's a beast. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 103.
103.
Kaj si jaz mislim o Amber od prvega dneva, tako 4 leta nazaj, ko sem njun prepir slišala online, mi je jasno, da je ženska psihično bolana in sem tako srečna, da to končno prihaja na plano. Ful sem strasna glede tega.
Publish.
No objection. All right. 103 in evidence. Publish.
And again, if we could zoom in on Ms. Heard's face. And finally, if we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 104.
Mene res zanima, kaj si misli porota in sodnica in vsi te, ki to gledajo, ko vidijo, da eno za drugo, za tretjim non-stop, karkoli ona priča, da je bila pretepena, ni enega dokaza, oziroma so vsi dokazi proti njej. Kaj si mislijo? Cool fotka, drugače.
Again, if we could zoom in on Ms. Heard's face.
Kjer v faco ima Amber tako?
You testified that you and Mr. Depp got into a fight while on the island in December of 2015, correct?
That's correct.
And this all started because you perceived Mr. Depp as nodding off during the trip, right?
I thought he was passing out again in a similar fashion.
Definitivno, ja. Vsi pišete, kako arogantno zgleda. To je to. Če smo na ravni empatiji, vidiš, pa niti treba govoriti, se telesa sploh poznati. Zelo jasno.
Testified that Mr. Depp's son Jack was there when this happened, right?
At the beginning, he was there.
He was there when Mr. Depp allegedly spilled wine on you 2 or 3 times, right?
He was there for that because he offered me help.
Ne, Amber ni igrala Fantastic Beasts, Johnny je to igral Grindelwalda, pa tudi to ne več, ker so ga odpustili zaradi Amber.
You testified that after this you needed to get away from him, right?
That is correct.
So you ran out of the house.
That's correct.
And you admit you threw something at him, right?
I did throw something at him to get away.
You sat in this courtroom when Tara Roberts testified, right, Ms. Heard?
I did.
She's Mr. Depp's manager on the island.
Yes, that's correct.
You heard her testify that she witnessed an argument between you and Mr. Depp on the island in December of 2015, right?
Vsi, ki sprašujete, kje lahko to gledaš, če samo tipkaš na YouTube Depp Trial Live, jih boš dobil milijon, ker ogromno ljudi to streama, tako kot jaz. Originalno pogledam na Law and Crime, tako kot vidite tle, Law and Crime channel.
She misrepresented it. How convenient.
That's correct.
Okay, and then you kept apologizing to Mr. Depp, right? That's what
No, that's
Ms.
not
Roberts
correct.
said? Begging him to come back to the house with you.
That's not correct.
Clawing at him. She used those words.
That's not correct. When she interrupted us, Johnny had me by the hair.
Yelling at him.
We were screaming, both of us, but I don't know what she would have heard.
A lahko prosim vprašam, vsi, ki zdaj gledate, vseh 450, pol Jurija, ki vas zdaj gleda, a kdo verjame Amber? A kdo je z Amber? In če je, ne kar napiše, zakaj jim bom prebrala, ker me res freaking zanima. Res. Jaz ful spoštujemo sam mnenja, vse dvome, tako da sam pri njej sem res že subjektivna.
You put in a witness statement in response to Ms. Roberts' statement in June of 2020. Isn't that correct? In the UK?
I did several, I think 7 witness statements, and each one contained different information as per recent filings. That's what counsel has you do in that.
And in response to previous filings,
To moram slikati.
including testimony from people that contradict your story?
Sort of. So what you have to do is your counsel asks you to respond to things, and you put it in a declaration of sorts, and that happens back and forth over the course of preparing to go to trial in that country, and that's what I did.
So that was your 5th witness statement submitted in the UK.
I don't recall which one I was asked to comment on Tara Roberts' testimony.
I'll remind you. If we could have Ms. Heard's 5th witness statement from the UK.
Zato objavljam na story, kako ste vsi napisali ne. Mogla bi označiti, by the way, da live streamam, pozabila sem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Huroče. Ok, še enkrat na hitro razložim bistvo. Jenny. Johnny Depp toži Amber za njen članek, ki ga je označila za pretepača, da jo je tepel, da je bil abuse. Vse, kar mora ona dokazati, je to, da je on nje se enkrat dotaknil, samo enkrat, da jo je udaril, samo enkrat, da je bila ranjena strani njega in je že zmagala. Zato je ta sojenje nevaren in je še vedno opcija, da ona zmaga. Zakaj to tako je, ne vem, pač pravila, ker je on jo tožil. Samo en član porote mora verjeti njej.
You describe the incident that took place on the island, correct?
That's correct, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure if I describe it in full in this statement.
Kaja! Oj!
I'm going to show you
Kaja je prišla!
your confidential schedule to the 5th witness statement that accompanied the 5th witness statement in the UK.
Yes, ma'am.
Jaz sem malo pozabila povedati, da live streamamo sojenje, tako da tudi z Instagrama pridite pogled, ker nas ko 400 gleda. 400 pa 500 je minimot. Skoraj sem ring light podrla. Joj, kjer video bo še naredila, da nama dela
Scheduled to your fifth
liste.
witness statement.
Pri meni pride še video najboljše priče in njihove informacije, pa poj na koncu razplet, pa moje mnenje, pa tako naprej. Pa verjetno bom še kdaj streamala, zna biti, ker folk to res gleda. Sem pa videla, da podoben del. Je pa ga.
Right?
That is correct.
And that's the first time you ever claimed that Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you in the Bahamas.
That is incorrect.
You only submitted the confidential schedule in the UK, claiming Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you after Miss Roberts had said that she saw you on the island chasing, clawing at Mr. Depp. Isn't that correct?
That is incorrect.
You could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 394.
Sem sam stream sojenje objavila, da pridejo še gledat. Pozabila sem čist, preveč naenkrat.
Your Honor, this is another recording. I can represent to the court. This only contains Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's voices. I'm going to move to admit the entire recording. I'm only going to play...
Mislim, ne, definitivno se niso nič fake... Pač ne moreš pomagati, veš, če je to taka stvar, ki vidite, ko vsi spremljajo, vsi govorimo o njej, jaz sploh pomislim, da niso do še kdo delal, pa valjda, da je še kdo delal, ne, se ni važen. Sploh ni važen, pač, who cares. In tako vsi govorimo o tem. Moj cel TikTok je o tem.
394 in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What things have you been doing?
Working on this thing, trying to change it. Last several times.
Hence screaming when I spilt wine accidentally on you for falling asleep and screaming in front of my kids and freaking Jack out. And that's trying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Johnny.
That fucked him up, you know.
I'm sorry I fucked your son up.
No, it weirded him out. He'd never...
I'm so sorry I fucked your kids up.
He didn't fuck my kids up, but it was pretty fucking weird for him, you know.
Because I jumped up and screamed at everyone. Oh, it's amazing. I'm surprised he's...
Yeah.
So you're good counselor. I'm sure that's terrifying.
I don't need your
No,
clever
nothing against me.
comebacks. No. You think you're controlling yourself? You think you're controlling yourself?
Characters become so clear, especially when you use them. It's embarrassing for you. I'm gonna walk away now because you're actually making me see you even worse. And believe me, I'm not gonna be calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning after I'm an Ambien and think, I'm gonna just fucking forgive and move on. Trust me, it is gross. I am abusing the kids. I've done nothing but be there for them in a good way. And if you can take that for granted, fine. You're right. Meet a woman who would not jump up and scream if things go on 3 times in a row. And I hope you're happy with whoever that is. Because that would be a special kind of fucking person. No doubt.
Fuck, okay.
It's you and Mr. Depp now.
Nerealno, kako ona vse naredi glede nje. Vse je okrog nje, cel svet se vrti okrog nje in če se ne, je še hujši problem in se okregala. In ona traumira njegove otroke in še vedno govori samo o tem, koliko je ona boga. Res, res bad.
No, we were talking about a part of that argument.
Including when you screamed at Mr. Depp in front of his children.
That's not a fair characterization of what happened.
Mr. Depp says you screamed at him when he accidentally spilled wine on you, correct?
I realize that's what Johnny said.
Yeah, and Mr. Depp tells you that this freaked out his son, Jack.
Johnny often used other people to back him up in our arguments.
You don't seem too concerned about that, do you?
I had a lot of concerns.
You don't mention Mr. Depp sexually assaulting you in this recording, do you?
That was not the point of that conversation. If I had gotten into the details of what happened, to meet with him. It would have been another fight.
You just accused Mr. Depp of, quote, using his kids, right? And that
He would
recorded in his
often
room.
use other people, yes.
Imagine, da Pero uleti na sojenje pa zapoje, moja žena moje tep, ne, moja žena mene tepe. Oh my god.
That is
Legendarno.
correct.
Not a woman who would put up with sexual abuse, right?
I was pointing out the ridiculous nature of him expecting me not to react to something that basic.
Your Honor, would this be a good time for a break?
Pozabila sem, da breki
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
obstajajo.
let's go and take our morning recess for 15 minutes. Do not discuss the case with anybody. Don't do any outside research. We'll see you.
Ha, I forgot. Ja, ok, zdaj pa lej. Kaj pravite, še naprej streamam? Zdaj bo pauza. A kaj veste, je ta pauza za 1 uro ali 15 minut? Ja, zdaj pa pogovor. Definitivno, ampak veste, kva je? Jaz res rabim kavo, jaz sanjam to kavo že. A 15 minut? Cool. Dej, jaz grem lulat pa po kavo in bomo pa naprej klepetali. A ne? Pridem 60 minut, 50 minut. Hvala, ker mi pomagate razmišljati, se pravi 15 minut je pauze. Ok. Telefon moram dati filat. Pa zakaj ste zdaj prišli gledati, kaj je pauza? Ok. Dragi moji, se vidimo zelo kmalu. Alenka ima smetano slovenske scene na streamu plus Deliča. Ja, kraljevino imam na streamu pa Deliča. No dej, dragi moji, pridem kmalu nazaj. Kavo rabim. Idi, Albus. Okidoki. Tole. Samo še 3 minute. Alenka je prerezala gor. A veste, da imam ful strme štenge do tle gor? Kje imaš moderatorje? Ne vem, jaz sploh ne vem, kdo so moji moderatorji. Kaj šele kje so? Jaz ne vem, kaj se dogaja. Imam še 3 minute. Ja, vem, sej bomo kakšno rekli prej, a ne? Se vas niti ni tako šlo. Sem kar zadovoljna. Ja, kavico imam. Vodo sem pozabila, vidim. Life is hard and then you die. Zdaj, definitivno lahko vprašate, preden gremo dalje, se razburjati na Denver. Najljubša youtuberka, ja, hvala lepa. A ja, čakaj, nek folk se je subscribal, da vidim kdo. Who dared to join us? Čak, kje to sploh pogledaš? Aha, okej. Brogel, živijo Brogel, pa Kranz the One, pa Nubis Place podprej. Welcome to Alien Club. Alien Gang, kva se bolj sliši? Marička je vroče pri meni. Jaz tle v drugem štuku gor bom zgorela, presežem. Vsa vročina gre gor, pa vse, ki se voha pšanca, ki sem ga prej pekla, pa vse gre, ga sem gor. Kdaj bo naslednji stream za strašljive zgodbe? I have no freaking idea, pojma nimam. Če še bo sploh. Recimo, zdaj sem se odločila tole delati, ker mi je freaking fascinantno, zdaj za scary streame pa ne vem. Veš, da ne vem, res ne vem. Super odgovor sem to dala. Isto slab kot Rember na sodišču. Bliže si strehi, bolje vroče. Ja, pa oken imam na stežaj odprt, pa mi nič ne pomaga. Klimo, ja. Ne se klimo imam prižgan, ampak dol, pa nič ne pride do gor. Ja. It does not help. A boš naredila video s Fingi, ki je zaprla oči kao? Ne razumem, kaj hočeš povedati sploh. Ups. Da imela pa Sfinga odprte oči. Po moje neki nisem na tekočem. Zdaj vidim, da imam jaz kamerco čez a da mesto na sredo. Mogoče. Na kjer mu appa urejam videe? Nimam appa, urejam to na računalniku na Adobe Premiere Proju, medtem ko na telefonu pa urejam v Splice? Mislim, da je Splice. Noro simple, pa noro preprost, pa tak top, res top. Bom imela kar na sredini sebe, magari. A prav, ali ne? Zgoraj levo. Sam zgoraj levo po moje Amber, tle bo Amber. Ali ne? Tako gor. Bom zdaj premaknila, ko se začnejo, da vidim, kje najmanj mod. Let's go live! Jaz imam kavo, I'm ready. A ste spremni? Alenka, ti si moj crush. Alenka je oddana, ampak hvala. Danes je že 17. dan. Joj. Ej, vi mislite, da Amber kaj... ne bo tle moja kamera. A vi mislite, da Amber kaj spi, pa kaj... Mislite, da je ona v redu? Pač, ko to klažeš, pa to, ko te svet sovraša, misliš, da ona kaj spi. Desno spodaj je kamero, je praznu. Aj praznu praviš? Sem res, kole karkoli. Ja, pa še to skrijem, evo. Ni več. Hvala, ki mi pomagate na vsakem koraku. A veš. Ok, to je to. Takole bomo. Kaj? Ej, a kdo ve, kam zdaj vsi strmijo? Po moje, da strmijo un znak tehtance, kao, v čast, ali v poroto, ali kam strmijo vsi? Ta trenutek tišine vsakič. Dolenci smo pač dolenci. Moj je dolenc, by the way, tako da sem kar navajena. Nekaj sem kliknila. Čak, z tega narabam. Ej, kje zvuk? A ja, jaz ga nimam.
So you weren't concerned enough to stop using drugs and alcohol the times you testified to in front of this jury, right?
As I testified to earlier, I took drugs in Johnny's presence on those 2 occasions, early in our relationship in 2013.
So you never changed your own behavior to support Mr. Depp in his sobriety, did you?
I did a lot of changing to support his sobriety. I tried everything that I could possibly think of.
But you drink wine around Mr. Depp on a regular basis, correct?
I did drink wine.
And you took Mr. Depp to Hicksville to do, quote, laughy drugs like mushrooms, end quote, right?
That's correct.
And you testified that despite what supposedly happened in Hicksville, you decided to take MDMA with Mr. Depp on a plane to Russia in June of 2013.
Of course you did.
As I mentioned, those are the 2 occasions.
Drugs.
You testified that this was the last time you would make that mistake, right?
That is correct.
And when asked if you would ask Mr. Depp to get you
drugs,
MDMA in Australia, you said that was, quote, ridiculous, right?
That is correct.
Because you had learned your lesson the hard way on the plane to Russia.
Russia, yes, that's correct.
Your and Mr. Depp's wedding in the Bahamas was in February of 2015, right?
That is correct.
So that would have been after the Russia flight.
Yes, when I did, when we had mushrooms on the island for my hen party, my bridal party before. We were not with Johnny. I was not with Johnny at the time.
Was your wedding with Mr. Depp on the island, right?
To be clear, we were both on the same island. We just weren't around each other that evening. We had kind of separate parties, a bridal party and a groom's party.
And your wedding was a month before Australia, correct?
Ja, vsi narediti kavo, da bomo skupaj.
That is correct.
Oh, Maci je prišel, Albus.
Like I said, we had mushrooms for my bridal party beforehand.
On the island for your wedding?
Before the wedding.
On the island?
On the island, yes.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1262? This is an email you sent on February 1st, 2015, correct?
Ja, bojo zaslužili od prenosa, sam ne vem kdo, pač kanali, ne pa one dva.
I'm going to move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 1262.
Any objection? Yeah, sure.
Albus, pridi pozdraviti. Pridi. A boš tam? Izjaket. Čakam, ne te dan, da si to videl. Evo te. Kje si, Mišo? Razkmen? Videla. Evo ga. Mu kar repma, ne vem česa. Ponovadi kar sedi v bani pa opazuje kapelce. Upam, da je to, pa da je nekaj drugega. Greš na mizo? Tukaj? Pri nas imaš tudi porotnika, sam sudja glavno besedo na koncu. Povsod naj bi bilo to malo drugače, oziroma tudi odvisen, kako se dogovorijo, če se ne motim. O, Damjan, pa kje si ti, moj kolega? Bimbus. Ja, je prišel končno bi zdrav reči. Me prav zanima vedno, kva se pogovarjajo v teh situacijah, ko grejo gor do sodnice. Pa by the way, ful dobro folk opazovati, ker tako res očitno, ker se kakšna drama začne dogajati in so vsi tako, a veš. Hihi. A kdo vidi ful lag? Ne, sej, bož da ne.
Your Honor, if we could please have Ms. Heard's email published to the jury.
All right, 1262 in evidence.
This is the schedule for your wedding weekend, right, Ms. Heard?
No, it's not. It's a proposed draft of a schedule. It ended up being quite different.
Do you see where it says 7 p.m. rehearsal dinner?
Yes, I see that.
And the next item on the list says, quote, after dance party and drugs and music, end quote, right?
That is correct.
So you plan to have drugs at your wedding to someone you characterize as a drug addict?
To be fair, we were going to have things, as I
Good
mentioned.
point.
So a bridal party before this, the schedule ended up changing quite a bit, and this is a draft clearly that was sent before there were a lot of changes made. The bridal
So
party.
your original
and the
idea,
groom's
Ms.
party
Heard,
were separate.
your original idea was to have a rehearsal dinner with your husband, the drug addict, the monster, and then do drugs with your girlfriends on the island after your rehearsal dinner?
I realize that's what the email suggests, but that wasn't.
No.
Mislim, dejstvo, da imaš v bližini nekoga, ki ti pomemben in ki se odvaja od drog, kakršnekoli droge, pa ne bo alkohol ali karkoli, je bolano. In da pa javno rečeš, a si pa ti droge uporabljal, oziroma kokain, pa tako, I would never, čeprav jih je, mislim.
Amber. That you were about to marry, right?
As the email suggests, there was going to be weed on the island. This does not reference the cuddle puddle that I just referenced to you.
You like to do drugs on special occasions, right, Ms. Heard?
I have before.
And you did drugs again for your 30th birthday, right?
That is correct. That was a huge mistake.
Your 30th birthday dinner was on April 21st, 2016?
Yes, it was the day before my birthday, correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp was running late to the celebration, correct?
That is correct.
You asked Mr. Depp to bring you alcohol when he arrived, is that right?
So the utility closet where we kept the wine was right by the elevators, and I also told him he could bring in a joint. I wouldn't bite his head off if he did.
So that's a yes?
Wow.
That's correct. I told him I wouldn't be angry.
Let's look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1263.
Sem se spomnila, če bi bilo Amber žival, bi bila črna vdova, ki freaking požre samca. Definitivno.
It's a brand new trial exhibit, so I don't have it. I'd like an unredacted copy, and then I'd like an unredacted copy to be shown to the witness.
All right, do you have an unredacted copy?
We can make one, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, may we approach the office?
Na 5. Dovolj. Kaj se je sploh zgodilo? Ljubezni moje. Čak, takole, evo. O osjenju sem že 2 videa objavila, tam pogledajte. O sojenju, no. Pa še 2 bosta. Ja, po vsej verjetnosti. Koliko je vroče? Nekdo si subscribe-al. Kaučič 197, welcome to Alien Gang. Ne, člana imamo, kdo je član? Kaučič 197, Alien Junior. Je živijo, kako lepo. Jaz upam, da bom kaj več streamala v prihodnosti. Strah me je predvsem naštimati vse, zvok pa to. Ful imam dlak zdaj vse pozod. O čem se gre? Ja, exactly, ali je črne dolga drama, jaz pa res sploh ne kje začetku, da... V glavnem, Johnny tož Amber laže, da bolj ne bi mogla in zdaj, ko mi čakamo, da jo ožamejo sodniki od Johnnyja, oziroma Camille Vasquez, in ja, to je to. Zakaj Sonja javno? To, kar rečeš, da so privat zadeve, lih to je fora, da gre za neke vrste zločinke, itak kršenje javnega zakona, nečesa, kar je javno pomembno, javno drago ljudem, javna pravica, ne? In na ta način v Ameriki grejo v to smer, da so sojenja javna, ne? Ker javno stvar tudi kršijo. Alia, welcome to Alien Game. Ok, kva je bilo to, ne vem. Johnny je tak car, ja, Johnny je legenda. Johnny je legenda. Introvert, ampak res tak, sam srce ga je. Verjamem pa, da ga je ona toliko zjebala, da je tudi kdaj čiživce izgubil. Pa ne mislim, da bi jo udaril, ampak definitivno se mu je malo mešal, ker se bi se vstaknil. Ker če pa kaj res groznega je pa abuse strani narcisa oziroma manipulacija, ki pa je šele fizična bolečina in vse ostalo. Labelo? Kaj je naslov drugih dveh videov? Sploh ne vem z glave, ampak imaš zadnja dva na kanalu sta. Ej, Delič, aj čau, se verjetno si že šel. Uživaj. Ne, Amber je že tožila, ne, Amber ne toži Johnnyja, pikamen konc. Tudi prejšnjič je Johnny njo tožil za tabloid The Sun, oziroma je tožil tabloid The Sun za članek in je tudi ona zmagala v United Kingdom, ker je dost bad. Kaj pa dela Albus? Joj. Rito umiva. My dog stepped on a bee. Fuck. My cat stepped on a flea.
I'm going to show the unredacted messages to counsel for Ms. Heard on the laptop because I don't have a hard copy.
Okay. Yeah, let's pause for a minute. What's up?
Malo me boli to, da poleg tega, da se veliko pogajajo, ok, ampak da jo nisto še bolj zalomili do te točke. Od včeraj na danes imela Amber po moje čas mehen k sebi pridati, pa mehen razmisliti, kako bo zdaj reagirala, da bo še vedno mečkam bolj žrtvo izpadla, kakor agresivna in dejanski gre kar, mislim, boljš kot včeraj se mi zdi. Včeraj so jo že toliko zvili, da je na koncu so ji živci popustili, zdaj je pa mečkam bolj sestavljena. V bistvu ona po moje preprosto si v glavi, ko odgovarja, vrti film, laži, kot da je resnica, ker drugače po moje ne mogla čez to pridati. In, ja. In sama se verjame, ko odgovarja.
So, Ms. Heard, I'm only going to...
Your Honor, I'm going to object to asking questions while I'm looking at this.
No, if you could give her a moment, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Joj, ta sodnica od Ambera, ne. Koliko je ta zblojena. To je pa fail stoletja, presežem. Sodišča. Dlake imam not.
I'm having trouble seeing this. Can you?
Kjer je tvoja najljubša oseba v chatu, pa streamu, ko jo velikrat vidiš, pa se ti ne zdi fajna, pa smešen? Ne vem, jaz ne vem. Niti ne vem, kdo vedno pride, pa to pojma nimam. Kaj je lepo vedeti, ko pride? Pogledati.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Kakšno vrsto kave piješ? Načeloma mi vse še vedno največkrat bar kafe, podam pa not rižev mlek, pa med.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Heard, directing your attention to the Plaintiff's Exhibit 1263. This is a text message that you sent to Mr. Depp, correct?
That is correct.
And you sent this message to Mr. Depp the day you had your 30th birthday dinner, right?
That is correct.
And you write, quote, "Hey baby, bring up something to drink and or a joint. I'm in if you are. See you in a minute. Question mark. XX."
Oh,
did I do that right?
That is correct.
Amber ves čas obtožuje Johnnyja, da je bil na drogah, da je bil odvisnik in ona mu je takole ponujala drogo. Makes sense, ja.
Let's talk a little bit more about your 30th birthday.
Sam kaj ne pasal pač.
You testified about this incident multiple times, haven't you?
That is correct.
But yesterday you told this jury that you were not called upon to provide a detailed accounting of all physical and sexual abuse by Mr. Depp until February 2020. Is that correct?
I testified that I had not been able to do so until February 2020 in outside of the context of a cold deposition.
Actually, I misspoke. February 2022, this year.
Right, sorry, I did the same thing you did.
Okay. And you did that in something called an interrogatory. Is that correct?
The interrogatory response was the first time that I could do that outside of the context of being asked certain questions in the deposition.
And you testified about your 30th birthday in this interrogatory, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. Nonetheless, you testified to a new detail about your 30th birthday for the first time in this courtroom, didn't you?
No, that's incorrect.
A sexual assault, no less.
I had just not placed when that happened. I was never sure if that was the same time that he did that on the night of my birthday. And I maintained that as well in my deposition.
You told this jury that the evening of your 30th birthday dinner, Mr. Depp, quote, grabbed you by the pubic area, end quote, pushed you down, right?
That is correct.
Ja, Amber skozi gleda na svojo desno, ker je tam porota, ker mora samo poroto prepričati in ne sodnico in ne kogarkoli drugega, da je nedolžna. Nisem rekla, da je to moja zadnja videa na kanalu. Ever. Ne. Vse je v redu. Samo moja dva zadnja videa na kanalu govorita o tem sojenju. To je.
Thank you.
Ja, sodnica definitivno lahko veliko vpliva zaradi tega, ker ima to moč usmerjati, katero objection sprejeti, katerega zavrniti, pa ali se na eni točki opusti sojenje, ali se nadaljuje, to, ko so imeli že na sredini takrat, pa tako. Tako da definitivno ima vpliv, pa to, kako ona spremlja sojenje, a ne, kako...
You can go to your interrogatory responses at page 57. These are signed in a penalty of perjury, correct?
That is correct.
And you testified again to this jury that this was the first time you were given an opportunity to write down everything and include all your evidence, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So let's go to page 57.
Good point, Urha. Ona definitivno rab pomoč. Ja, samo po mojem na tej točki, ki se toliko ne zaveda in ne verjame, da rab pomoč, je še vedno zelo nevarna, dokler ne gre dejansko po pomoč, ne? In če jo ne označijo za noro, ker najbrž ni, je samo pač psihično bolna na par načinov, je samo pač grozljivo zlobno bitje. A ne? Kako to drugače povedati, ne vem. Au.
At the top of page 57, Johnny and I were not in a good place. I begged him to make my birthday dinner. Do you see that?
That is correct.
Okay, so starting on page 57, you start describing your birthday dinner, correct?
That is correct.
Ja, en drugega sodita za obrekovanje, za isto stvar, samo da je zdaj Johnny najprej njo, ona pa že zdaj njega za naprej sod za 100 milijonov, še enkrat več, kakor on njo.
On page 59 of your interrogatory response, you write, fourth paragraph down, Johnny grabbed me while holding me down, and I remember him asking me if I thought I was so tough. He asked me 3-4 times up close to my face, "You're so tough. Are you such a tough guy, huh? You think you're so tough. What are you going to do now?" I stood up at some point after getting off the ground. Do you see that?
That is correct.
And then you write after, "I remember crying. I remember feeling exhausted and frustrated. And it hit me, meaning the realization of how sad it was that I was going to wake up tomorrow on my birthday without him."
That's correct.
Where in this interrogatory response, Ms. Heard, you describe Mr. Depp, quote, grabbing you by the pubic area and pushing you down?
On page 64.
Ko pa vsakič poroto pogleda tako, Boga, jaz moram tukaj biti,
Page
daj se kdo z mano.
64, 1, 2, 3 paragraphs down. Johnny grabbed me once, did this taunting thing on the side of the bed in penthouse 3. He grabbed my vagina and held me there. Asked me if I was so tough.
You're not describing what happened after your 30th birthday?
I am. I just had not prescribed it to that date with the limited evidence I had at the time. Only in the course of looking at the evidence, preparing for this case, have I put those two pieces together. But I've always said what happened.
Kam gre Kamil? A ja, dala preč zapiske, okej.
You were upset that Mr. Depp was late to your 30th birthday, weren't you?
I was.
You knew Mr. Depp had a scheduled business meeting or a money meeting that evening, right?
No, I knew he said he did. I didn't know if he had one. Addicts lie all the time.
Vsi zdaj droge obtožujete, droge nimajo toliko veze pri tem, a si ti abusiv, pa bolan, pa zloben človek, pač imaš pa več denarja, da si lahko prevožiš kokain, ja, ker je drag.
Yes, he did text
I
me at
guess.
some point.
It was a big deal to you that Mr. Depp was late to your birthday dinner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did matter to me.
You were upset he was late.
I was hurt.
When he finally did arrive, you felt, quote, invisible to him, right?
I did.
The day after your birthday dinner, you and your friends went to
Burazi,
Coachella to
welcome.
celebrate your birthday. Is that correct?
That is
Wailing
correct.
gang.
You made a video driving to Coachella with your friends, didn't you?
That is correct.
I'd like to pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1264. And for the record, Your Honor, this only has music without any words on it.
And again, it's a new one, so I'd like a copy of it.
It's going to be...
Yep, John je igral v Charlie in čokolada tovarne čokolade, en najljubših filmov mojih. To mi je res amazing.
There is no sound other than a song.
Yes, sure.
Ja. 1 gram kokaina je okoli 100 evrov, ja, drog pa ne mogla šval kaj. To pa moram reči, da še nisem probala. Me prav zanima, ba je človeka napumpa bolj v to smer, da je bolj koki, ego, ampak ne vem, no. Ne, čak, daj nekaj to drugega. Mene že YouTube. Poznaš Laro Vovk iz Srednje? Če to mene sprašuješ, ne. Ej, danes sem ful nekaj pogajajo tle od spred. Daj Kamil raztrgijo, zavij vrat, naredijo jezno. Zdaj ima še nekaj v rokavu na koncu, zdaj jo bo. Čeprav jaz sem mislila, da Ember ne bo več dolg tlele na stolu, ampak tole se vleče stari, že celo večno. Žal ne je bil ful manj časa za vse skup.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
If we could please publish this to the jury with
Pač
a
kaj je
sound.
sodiščem, ja, je kar messy stvar. Zato si pa človek res ne sme želeti kadarkoli na sodišče, ker je tako fucked up. Kaj bo ta zvok? Na. O, zdaj bom pa banana za zvok. Moram to prečdati.
This is a video you made when you drove to Coachella with
Po
your
mojem sem
friends
že
for your
prepozna.
30th birthday, right?
That's correct. I'm not quite sure which one of us made the video, but that's correct.
You're featured in that video, driving.
That's correct.
And it's set to the song Miss You by the Rolling Stones, is that right?
That's correct.
That was a message for Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
No, that's ridiculous.
You consumed drugs at Coachella, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You took MDMA and mushrooms at the same time.
I did, yes.
And it made you feel sick, right?
I felt horrible, yes.
So you left Coachella.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified yesterday that when you left Coachella, you left with, quote, your entire group.
That is correct.
To je po moje ta dan, ki je šla na Coachella, potem se mu je pokakala v posla, se mi zdi.
Not alone, no.
You sat here when Sterling Jenkins testified that he collected you from Coachella when you were sick, right?
He picked up my entire group.
And Mr. Jenkins testified, quote, I collected her, got her in the vehicle. She didn't want anyone else to know that she was sick. Take her back to the Parker, which I assume was in reference to the hotel.
Parker?
Alone. I took her to 7-Eleven where I retrieved hydrating fluids, Advil, and let her have those. Got her back up to the Parker, got her in the suite, and then went back to pick up everyone else. You were there when Mr. Jenkins testified, right?
Yes, he was wrong.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Jenkins is lying.
He's just wrong. I don't know what his intentions are. He was just wrong about that. We were a big group of us. I wasn't alone with him.
Pa kva bo taka
Is it
laž
possible
sploh?
that you don't remember correctly because you were sick from taking MDMA and mushrooms at the same time?
I remember everything about that night.
I would never take so much
I'd like to
drugs.
play for you Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229, which is already in evidence, at 1720 through 2128.
Ful dobra kava. Kaj pa je v petek v Stožicah? Hamo.
No, you told me.
We're on the road.
So that's what I came to figure
You're
out.
not going to tell you all this. Stop the process. I don't want to. You're not going to do that. Okay, I don't want to.
You don't? How would you growing up in which one?
I don't want a divorce. I never wanted a fucking divorce. I never wanted a divorce. I didn't want you to fucking go to Coachella without fucking talking to me. Because I left you because you were fucking... You fucking haymakered me, man. You came around the bed and fucking started punching on me. Why? I love you.
That's what really happened the evening of your 30th birthday, isn't it, Miss Heard?
No, that's incorrect.
Mr. Depp was in bed, and then you came around the bed and started punching him.
That's incorrect.
You don't deny that in the recording, do you, Miss Heard?
I'm not having that conversation with Johnny. I'm not denying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm not having that conversation with Johnny. I was trying to get out of that hotel room. That was a mediation attempt. That was the recording you just heard. It was us meeting in a hotel.
But you're talking about your 30th birthday.
No, we're not.
And you're not talking about going to Coachella and...
Johnny's talking about that. I am not arguing.
Amber vse čas snema, cel njen razmerje snema audio posnetke nju, ko se kregata in kadarkoli Johnny njo obtoži v smislu, ampak si me tepla, ona zignorira vprašanje ali pa je tih ali pa ga ne zanika zaradi tega, ker se je to dogajalo in je vedela, da snema in da pač ne more valjda priznati, ker bo pa sodišče slišal. Predstavljaj si, da nikoli ne veš, ko dan prišel, kdaj te v nekdo stepil, da imaš tak odnos.
Plaintiffs 1265 and publish it?
No objection, Part 1265 in evidence, can publish it.
There's no injuries to you, are there, Miss Heard, visible in this picture?
You cannot see any visible injury, no.
Ne vidimo slike.
Thank you, Tom.
Ben čuj, meni to cool. Ta vednik od Johnny je taka legenda.
Sir, do you remember during Mr. Depp's examination, a number of recordings were played, correct?
That's correct.
And in one of those recordings, you told Mr. Depp, quote, I hope to God Jack's stepfather teaches him more about being a man than your fucking left nut, end quote. Do you remember that?
I do not remember what exactly I could hear of that recording. I remember I heard myself make a mention of Jack's new stepfather, or potential stepfather, I can't recall.
Jack is Mr. Depp's son, right?
That is correct. And I believe I was referencing a marriage that his ex-partner was going to have or getting into, I suppose.
You were referencing that Jack's new stepfather would teach him how to be a man because Mr. Depp couldn't.
I don't recall exactly what I said, but it was something to that effect.
Kje razlaba, res. Ej, Jack, mislim, Johnny danes pojmenoval svojega sina Jack po Jacku Sparrowu, maybe. To je full cool.
Which is already in evidence. And for the record, it's at 3504 through 3547. And then the next clip is 3635 through 4308.
Everything's fine until it doesn't go your way. When it doesn't go your way, I'm in trouble. And you know what? I don't need you. I don't want your kind of woman. I don't want your kind of woman. I don't want your kind of woman. It's on my path. So my dick with you.
lies, your bullshit, your sober fucking presence, your fucking goodness, your sweetness, all the lies. I wish I hadn't bought into the months of you being you. I wish I hadn't bought into promises. I wish I hadn't fucking thought I could have kids with you. You're a fucking kid yourself. I wish I hadn't bought into any of the lies you sold. Talk about fake bill of goods. You're the biggest fucking, you're the biggest fucking seller of fake fucking bill of goods. Talk about presenting yourself as something.
I did myself the fake.
Suck my dick. Suck my dick.
I fucking, you left nothing and I've left everything. So suck your dick.
Yeah, go on.
Which is probably your next move. No, I don't want to suck your dick. I don't want nothing to do with your fucking midsection. Well, go get it, man.
Go on.
Huh?
Fuck yourself. No shit, I don't. Suck your dick.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
No, it's not really true, man.
Actually, come here.
Johnny's a smack.
Somebody knows. Oh, is it? What is it?
No, I'm sure Rochelle's call her up. I'm sure she's a man.
Maybe she is.
I'm sure she is.
We'll see.
I'm sure she is.
I'll let you know.
Oh, I'm sure she is. I'm sure for her yoga vlog.
That fake laugh is too much to take.
No, I'm sure she's.
That fake laugh is so disgusting.
I'm sure she's great. I'm sure she's great.
Thinking that you can give me some of the best performances in the world.
No, you're right. I don't. It's all about performance.
It's about performance. I don't regret.
What else that you do? Oh, come on.
To je pa cinizem pa zloba na višku, a ne? Da si sposoben take zlobe pa smehe.
Oh, no, I want to know.
Get out your Ubers out.
I'm kind of waiting. Go get it.
Yeah,
Wait, is there no other place for you to run your 15 other houses to go run? Come on, go be a real married man. Go deal with your shit the way that a man does. Go run to the next house. Every man does.
Yeah.
Go. Run away. I know it's hard to
You're
look at yourself.
fucking ridiculous clown. You're a panic fucking clown.
It's hard. It's hard.
Screwing everybody else over to get
You're
your
right.
fucking...
I tried. That's what I do.
You're the most spoiled fucking brat. And you got everybody out here almost full, but it doesn't last long.
You're right.
I've been
sorry.
longer
You're
than
right.
you.
You gotta figure it out.
You figure out what you have to offer as opposed to going out and get your tits out.
You're right. That's what I do.
Well, yeah. Wonderful.
You're right. You're right.
Excellent choice.
Back to that. Well, I wonder what we else. I wonder what else we can reach for in the last 16 minutes.
Jaz ne vem, kako Johnny ostane tako miren, plus dela na sojenju, da on to posluša, se mi zdi, da je edina opcija, da se mora na tej točki resno smil.
I'm not happy. I'm not. It's serious. I'm sure you can find other things.
I know. I'm stripping. Well, there's always that. You can always go back.
You can write a book. You can write a book. I know you can write a book. Oh, is this going to be good for your book? Oh, should I be signing an NDA for your book?
You don't need
your book. Is this going to be good for your book? Is this going to be good for your book?
Bogi Johnny, drugač pa nobena žrtev ever. Če bi bila ona žrtev v lifeu, ne bi imela takega odnosa do človeka, ki te tepe. Ever.
Hey, no, you're not one. No, you're not
ever.
No one does 21 drug stream when they're in their 20s. No, you're right. That's not selling out. No. When you're in your 20s, you should really know what you want. Like selling your journals.
If you didn't know who the fuck I was.
You're right. Oh, if you sell your journals, you're a known seller. Or, I'm sorry,
56.
51. I don't know. It doesn't matter at this point.
No.
I don't think so. I don't really think so. But you're right. I mean, hey, at least I didn't do like a TV show where I was heartbroken.
Mislim, če zdaj porota pa sodnica, recimo, da ne čutijo te zlobe, jaz ne štekam, mislim. Po mojem vsi ljudje, ki smo dali kaj tacga podobnega v life čez, smo zdaj tako malo traumirani, ki ti gre na bruhanje.
I don't even know what movies those from. You haven't even taken an interest.
If only I could be like you. If only I could be like you.
I had to watch your fucking direct and you trying to like
You're a joke.
spew out these fucking lines.
You're a joke.
Perni 5, ja, exactly. Sorry, da smo mogoče stojiti.
I'm the joke. I'm the joke in the
I'm
industry.
sorry, I can't really hear you. I'm sorry. The reruns of all my bullshit are playing too loud for me to hear you. I'm gonna just going.
Amber je spet začela piti svoj eliksir laži, da bo lahko zdaj se zagovarjala.
I was 20.
Aquaman sem zamudila.
What's the piece of shit? What's the
Ki je
piece of
zlobna,
shit?
stari.
Your jealousy is so tragic. Your jealousy.
Sej to, ona je vse snimala, od A do Ž je vse ona snimala, zakaj pa je takih... Ona se sploh ne zaveda, koliko je fuknjena, da tega ni zbrisala, da je to... Ona sploh ne ve, ne zaveda se...
You told Mr. Depp to suck your dick multiple times, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
You tell him to go run to his 15 other houses, right?
That's correct.
Čak.
Because that's what he would do when you...
Tako rekla mu je suck my dick ene 5krat in Johnny, I don't want to.
You call him a sellout, don't you?
I was expressing frustration about his criticism of my career and how many problems that caused within the dynamic of our relationship, yes.
So you call him a sellout and a joke?
I called him horrible, ugly things, as you can hear. And
Sellout.
we spoke to each other in a really horrible way.
Pretty sure we just heard you speak to him in a really horrible way. You called him a sellout?
I just
right, Miss Heard? You called him a sellout, right, Miss Heard?
I called him a lot of ugly things.
And a joke.
I called him a lot of ugly things.
You called him a joke on that recording. You called him a washed-up piece of shit.
I think we both called each other that on that occasion, yes.
Mr. Depp mentions Aquaman, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
Excuse me?
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
No, Miss Vasquez, I got myself that role by auditioning. That's
Mr.
how that
Depp
works.
says, quote, your jealousy is so tragic.
I heard him say that, yes.
You were the jealous one in this relationship, weren't you, Miss Heard?
I think he was indicating I was jealous of his career.
And now you've twisted it to say it was Mr. Depp that's the jealous one.
Johnny's always been very jealous. When I worked, when I did anything, friends. Yes, he's always been very jealous.
Maybe se to, ko si varjala usporedno z ena dvema naenkrat.
Ask you to take a look at plaintiff's exhibit 120E.
To, da Johnny smeha crkuje, freaking upam, jak si zasluž. Na tej točki, da preživi, da mora to poslušati kot žrtvo, upam, da se mu sam še smilka, drugače ne vem kako, da što čez.
I'm going to move to admit and publish these text messages. Mr. Depp's messages.
That will be nasty.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 120E in evidence, you can publish.
Starts with a text message from you to Mr. Depp on September 26, 2015, right?
That is correct.
And you write, monster is back. This is him. Did I read that right?
That is correct.
And then in the next message you write, quote, ran away, first sign of trouble. This is not the man you promised you would be. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Then in the next one down you write, promised, swore to me you would be.
That is correct. The non-monster.
Ms. Heard, you're talking about Mr. Depp running away from you at the first sign of trouble, aren't you?
No, I'm recognizing the clues at this point when he would run away at the first sign of trouble. Often that was a clue for me to know that he was back losing again and that we were about to enter the next phase of the cycle.
And you describe his running away from you as the monster, right?
That wasn't what was a monster. The monster is the man who beat me up. The running away was just attached to that. It was a sign, a signal to me as a clue.
Ona kot človek, ki je njega zlorabljala, je bila za njo šibkost, ja, to, da je šel on preč, da ga ni mogla več naprej zlorabljati, da ni mogla do konca ga zjebati. In v bistvu je to za njo bil ta monster, o katerem skozi govori. Kako je to fucked up?
That is exactly what I'm saying in the messages.
You don't describe Mr. Depp being violent, do you?
I do not describe that in this text message, no.
So it's a cowardly monster this time.
No.
This time, cowardly monster.
Going down the page, you write a long series of text messages to Mr. Depp that don't get a response. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You write, come grown, face the shit, and we can do anything. You go on a little later to say, please come home. Let's apologize to each together. And continuing on page 77, you write, not go to bed mad. And then you say, sound okay? Sound like the priority in the long run? Come home. Don't be the monster. Be the man. Please. Please call me. Please.
Ona ve, da je najslabši mož, mislim, da je najlažji mož, ki ga zjebati, da mu v glavo rečeš, da ni moški, a ne, in točno to skozi počne, kao, nisi moški, če ne priješ dem, da te lahko še malo tepem. Fuck.
I need to talk to you. Please, Johnny. Don't force me to be something else to you. This is taking me for granted and I can never stop before this turns into something far darker. Describing yourself in that text message, right?
The exact opposite. I'm trying to interrupt him starting a new cycle where he starts using again.
He's not responding to you, Ms. Heard.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to desperately stop him.
Please answer the phone, you say. Doesn't this mean anything to you? And it goes on. And I won't read all these messages, but you're saying, please answer over and over again. Right?
It was very important to me. I was running out of time and I was trying desperately to stop him.
He wasn't with you, Ms. Heard.
Exactly, which is how I knew it was about to get a lot worse. He would leave, use, and come back way worse, with way less reality, with more delusions. He'd be more drunk. He'd be more under the influence.
Everything after
I was trying to stop
the
that.
answer to her question.
You're right, she was responding.
I'll overrule the objection, that's fine.
Thank you, Ron.
This is a situation where you were trying to get Mr. Depp to pay attention to you. Isn't that right?
No, I was trying to stop him from using.
And because he ran away from you at the first sign of trouble, you call him a monster.
I was trying to stop him from turning into the monster. The drugs are the key that opened the door.
Who is the real monster in this relationship, Ms. Heard?
Lives in Johnny. Half of Johnny. It's not all of Johnny. The other half of him is wonderful.
And I'm the
beautiful,
beauty, huh?
And the man I love.
Jesus. What?
I'd like you to take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 120F.
Jesus. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, this. Ow, let's see.
There's another set of text messages between you and Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
Any objection?
No, you're on.
All right, 120F in evidence, you can publish.
This is a set of text messages, and it's from October 2015. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
In fact, you sent all of these messages to Mr. Depp on October 22nd, 2015. Isn't that right? And again, I'm not going to read them all, but you start off again by trying to get Mr. Depp's attention, right? You write, please come home.
I was trying to stop another bender.
You write, please come home, right?
That is correct.
Please answer. Don't break us up. Please answer. Please. And continuing on page 97, you write, give me some piece of your heart. Please, no fight, I promise. Please, no fights. Please, just pick up. Please give me 2 minutes. I'm dying. Please. And continuing on page 98, you write,
Če si bo šel kdo zdaj prebrati njene personality disorder, sprav histrionic personality disorder, pa blablabla, borderline bo videl, da je točno to, kar se dogaja, jo opisuje pač. Točno to.
And it goes on. Did I read those correctly?
That is correct. That was another time I'm trying to stop another twist off.
This is what would happen when Mr. Depp would try to take some space from you, right?
No, this is what would happen when Johnny had moved into the next phase of the cycle, decided to use,
No,
and
I've
our
just
lives
heard-
were getting a lot worse at that
Ms.
point.
Heard, I'm talking about your actions. This is what you would do to Mr. Depp when he would leave you. You would harangue him.
I would
Is
try
that
to-
correct? You
I
would
would try-
harangue him.
Your Honor, at least let her answer the question. Those are interrupting.
That's fine. Go ahead and answer the question.
I do not think I would characterize my behavior that way. I was trying to stop him from using.
You were texting him incessantly. Isn't that correct, Ms. Heard?
It was imperative for my life.
Ms.
It was
Heard,
very
my
important
question is
to me.
much more simple. You were texting him incessantly.
I would
Yes
try
or no?
everything to
Ms.
get a hold
Heard?
of him and
So
to
that's a
stop the
yes.
cycle.
That's a yes, right?
I would try everything to stop the cycle. It was that important to me.
And he's the monster for not responding to you.
That's not what made him the monster.
For
no.
needing space from you.
The monster.
Sojenje poteka v Virginiji. By the way, zdajle naša Camille Vasquez ful vrhunsko jo
Not for being violent.
predstavlja kot nasilneža, čeprav Amber
Let's listen to defendant's exhibit
je fucked up, ja.
598C,
Ne
which
bo
is already in
priznala.
evidence.
Sej, če bi zdaj priznala, itak se ji zruši live, tako da valjda proba ne priznati.
Because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop.
Why are you saying stop? May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you so that you know you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Then say goodbye. I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave.
Kako igra, da je v distresu?
Let me leave.
Stop pushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say? Stop poking me! Stop pushing me! Stop throwing me against the wall! Going, what? You don't like that wall? You don't like the fucking wall? Stop pushing me!
I'm pushing you. I'm rushing you. I said, I need space. I don't want this conversation anymore right now. I need space. And I will take my space, whether you like it or not. I will take it. And you will take your space. But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the
continuing
rhetoric,
it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't. Okay, stop.
Just
I'm stopped. Stop.
I'm stopped.
Now I have to go. Okay? So we will speak to each other in a couple.
Johnny se je vedno hotel samo umakniti. Klasika. Pa mu ni pustila. Še ko je imela ona zanj prepoved približevanja, mu je prišla na dom, v hotelsko sobo. Skrivaj.
We'll just see when I get home. We'll just talk, or we won't talk, or we, finish this, or we won't finish it. But this is not, well, this is not happiness. This is not, this is...
Please stop doing this. Please, it causes me so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please. I feel like I have a heart attack almost every day. Please stop. Please stop doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why are you
You're a
with me?
fucking bully. Stop. Please stop. I've been begging you not to fight. I just said, can we please have a normal argument? Just even a normal conversation, fucking normal argument. And for the last hour, I've been begging you to please just leave it at that. Let's just go on with our night. I would have been able to come in with you. We would have been able to let it go in a few minutes. It would have been fine. If we allowed ourselves to have fucking normal arguments. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me. You're fucking killing me. Fuck.
Sean, could you, please, I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you.
Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much. I'm really ready.
It's you and Mr. Depp in the recording, correct, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You just won't let him go, will you?
That's not true. We were outside of his studio and he wanted to go and use. It was a pretext. The the claim that he was upset with me was a pretext and that he would go on a bender. I knew that pattern by the time this recording happened.
Kako se prelevi v žrtvu?
Your testimony now that you were outside Mr. Depp's studio.
I believe that
he was going to go use.
Excuse me?
He was going to go use drugs. That's your testimony.
Vidim, da rabam moderatorja.
We were outside the studio, his man cave house, if you will, in the car. I believe during that recording.
And he was going to go inside and use.
That was the pattern, and as you can hear from my voice, I'm very, very, very scared of entering into the next cycle under what I had been conditioned to understand we were at that point in our relationship.
That's not true, is it, Ms. Heard? Mr. Depp was trying to go inside his house to see his daughter, Rose.
She might have been over that day, but that's not what he was getting out of the car to do, and that's not what I was stopping him from doing.
Let's play the beginning part of that recording where Mr. Depp tells you that he wants to go inside to see his daughter.
A ja sam res spinam.
Well, let's not do this anymore, because I'm really getting frustrated. I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Sorry.
Okay, so let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop? May I go?
Zakaj govori stop? Zato, ker je vedela, da snema, zato da je izpadel, da je nekaj dela. Oh, bad. Kako je to bad?
We'll circle back to this, but it's your testimony that you were outside Mr. Depp's studio.
We were in the car.
You were in the car outside of Mr. Depp's studio.
That's correct.
And he wasn't telling you, please let me go inside my house to see my daughter. He was indicating to you that he wanted to go inside to do drugs. That's your testimony.
I know my testimony is that I knew what he was going inside to go do. I knew what stage of the cycle we were in. I knew the patterns by then, and I was desperately out of time trying to interrupt that cycle.
Let's go to May of 2016. Yesterday, Ms. Heard, Ms. Bredehoff, your attorney, showed you certain pictures from May 21, 2016. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 710, which has already been admitted into evidence. Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday that this is a photograph taken of you on May 21st, 2016. Do you recall?
Yes, that's correct.
And keeping this exhibit up.
Sojenje ponovadi traje kar dolg, tako od naše 3-4 ure do polnoči enih 11.
Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday that this is a photograph that was also taken on May 21st, 2016, correct?
Kvaliteto streama imam pa na max, tako da je kar je.
To the right might have been taken the next day. I can't be sure. The reason I say that is because there's light in the background. So it looks like it was taken in the daytime, which means maybe it was the next day.
Did you testify that you took different lighting, pictures in different lightings on May 21?
That is correct, yes.
And you're wearing two thin necklaces in this picture on the right, is that correct?
That is correct.
You testified that these pictures were taken the same night.
The one on the right looks like it was taken in the daytime because I can see the daylight behind me.
But you testified that they were taken the same day.
I don't know if I think I testified that they came from the same incident of the same day, not necessarily taken on the same day.
Let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 712, which has already been admitted. You testified yesterday that this is another photograph of you on the night of May 21.
That's correct.
And keeping this exhibit up, can we please do a split screen and also pull up Defendant 713, which has already been admitted? Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday, and this is also a photograph of you from the same night, correct?
That is correct.
You testified yesterday that the only difference between these two photographs is that the light was turned on.
That's what it appears to be, yes.
Isn't that right?
It looks to me like the one on the left has the vanity light, the makeup lights, you know, the more yellow hued ones that go around the mirror on, and then the one on the right looks like it doesn't have those.
To je identična slika.
You just edited these photographs?
No, I've never edited a photograph.
Didn't you just enhance the saturation for one of these photos to make your face look more red?
To je identična
no, that's
slika.
incorrect. I didn't touch it.
Oh my god. To je
You were sitting here in this
identično.
courtroom when Mr. Isaac Baruch testified to seeing you the week after May 21, 2016, correct?
I was here.
Mr. Baruch testified that he saw you on May 22nd while you were changing the locks of your penthouse. Do you recall?
Jacques Frater, full good point, ja. Full se vidi, pa nekdaj laže, kdaj ne. Ja.
It was his birthday, the day after his birthday.
I believe it was.
Mr. Baruch testified that he saw you repeatedly in the days following also, correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Baruch testified that he saw no marks or injuries on your face, correct?
That is what he's testified to.
You were also here in this court when Mr. Sean Bett testified to seeing you on the evening of May 21, 2016. Is that right? You were here.
That's correct.
Mr. Bett also testified that he saw no marks or injuries on your face that evening, correct?
I realize that's what he said.
You were sitting here in this courtroom when
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lie?
called to the Eastern Columbia building on May 21st, 2016.
Because she stepped on a
I saw
bee?
her testimony. Yes.
And you heard Officer Sines testify that she did not see any injuries on you that night, correct?
I heard her testify she did not consider this injured.
No. Miss Officer Sines testified that she met with you and she did not see any injuries on your face. Isn't that correct?
She did not consider this injury.
Miss Heard, my question is a bit more nuanced.
Ja.
So is my answer.
Ok. Jaz ne morem, stari, koliko je... Ja, pa zakaj ne zmanjka te roza stvari, ali ima dve? Kva to je? Res. A vi mislite, da je ona prej snifala kokain, ki je bil en posnetek od tega? Jaz mislim, da ne. A veste, ko je sodišče nasploh se vlečajo v nedogled. Tole je vsaj lepo na kupu strnjeno, se včasih je razvlečen na par leta, veš, mislim. Po defaultu to vedno traja, ne, pa koliko časa se je kdo zapletal, realno, mislim. Tole traja 5-6 let, vse skupaj, da dolgo traja, ne. Pomirjevala ima noter, za vsak stres narediš luk, dejansko to ni toliko glupa ideja, po moje. Ej, mene ne uša ta ženska tle, ki transkripte piše, pač ta v modri srajici, pa ko je lahko vedno ista ženska, vsak dan pa skos, meni tu ni jasen, kako to ona. Leko sta cute Benču pa Johnny, ki se vedno čohata po hrbtu. Ful lep od nas. Kak je moj telefon? Albus mi ga je prej na tla vrgu. Ej, drugače pa opcija, nisem še ziher, ampak mogoče, da bi ustavila ali pa nehala med glavno pauzo, ker bo moja kmalu. Ne vem še.
My question is more nuanced. You sat in this courtroom while Officer Sines testified that she saw you the night of May 21, 2016, face to face, and didn't see any injuries on your face. Isn't that correct, Ms. Heard?
I believe she was testifying about these photographs, and she said that I was not injured in them.
Is it your testimony under oath now that Officer Sines testified that she saw injuries on you when she saw you in person on May 21?
Sorry, let me clarify. I was testifying that I know that that's what Officer Sines said, that she didn't consider my red puffy face injured. That's what she said.
The red puffy face, that was your counsel's question, correct?
That was
She
her
said-
testimony in the UK.
That's incorrect, and you know that, Ms. Heard.
I disagree.
It's just
Camellia
inconvenient that Officer
fire.
Sines didn't see injuries on you on May 21, 2016.
It
Isn't
doesn't
that
matter
right?
what's convenient for me.
Right. Officer Tyler Haddon also testified by deposition about being called to the Eastern Columbia building on May 21, 2016, and he also testified no injuries on your face on May 21, 2016. Isn't that correct?
They both said that they did not consider me injured.
They did not see injuries on your face.
Zakaj ne dajo človeka na detektor laži? Zaradi tega baje, ker veliko ljudi, sploh takih, ki zagrešijo neki, so kompulzivni lažnivci, kar pomeni, da so toliko navajeni lagati, da njihov telo sploh ne zazna več tega in ne pokaže na detektorju in je detektor useless. Se pravi, kako bi se kdo odločil, a ima smisel detektor poslušati ali ne. Lahko bi Amber bila konc koncev, ker je toliko navajena lagati, bi spadala, da govori resnico.
On video camera, you identify yourself, isn't that correct?
I had to because of how far away he was. He didn't even know who he was.
But after you identified yourself, he looked at you, isn't that correct?
From a distance, yes.
He didn't see any visible injuries either, did he?
I don't know what he saw.
He testified that he didn't see any visible injuries, did he?
I would believe that he didn't, yes.
We were also in this courtroom when Alejandro Romero, who worked at the front desk at the Eastern Columbia building, testified about seeing you on May 25th, 2016. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. I think he said the 25th.
Yeah, and Mr. Romero testified that he didn't see any swelling or bruises on your face when you were talking to him at the front desk.
He wouldn't have.
No, he wouldn't have, even though he had a habit, because his parents taught him correctly, to look into someone's eyes when speaking to them. Isn't that correct?
I know that's what he testified to, yes.
You testified yesterday that you sought a temporary restraining order on May 27th, 2016 because you wanted to change your locks. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I do.
Those locks were to the penthouses at the Eastern Columbia building, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
You changed the locks to the penthouses on May 22nd, 2016.
I attempted to.
That's why you felt comfortable having James Franco over the evening of May 22nd, 2016, Mr.
Burn. I do not know when James came over.
Okay, let's remind you. Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 304, which is
Zdaj bo pa
evidence
video
in
varanja.
play
Mislim, varanja pač.
from 254 through 439.
Jo, bad. In to ga pele, mislim, da od stanovanja oziroma v penthouse od Johnnyja, če se ne motim. Dost bad. Dost bad. Ko lahko obtožiš nekoga, da je lažnivc, kaj če je lažnivc glih tvoj Johnny? Mislim, jaz zdaj se verjamem, da sem vedno ful odprta za vse možnosti. Ta je en tak, pač upam, roko staviti, da to ogen, da pač ne. Tako da, če se slučajno kaj obrne čudežno, bom pa zelo z veseljem priznala, ampak se ne bo. Taj se pa res ne bo. It is what it is, a ne. Koliko vprašanj ima ta ženska za Amber? Hvala Bogu, da pride do resnice, da jo malo zjebe. Sej prej bilo obratno tudi, za Johnnyja so tudi imeli toliko vprašanj sodniki od Amber, tako da, just fair. Kdo mislim, da zmaga, ne vem. Evo, Franco je prišel, James Franco. Ne vem, kdo zmagal. Zelo velika verjetnost je, da ona, upam, da Johnny, ampak Johnny itak zmagal na svoj način. On je nazaj dobil ugled, vsi ga spet imamo radi, mislim spet. Vsi smo, pač vsi mu verjamemo, tako da on je svoje dobil. Se vidi, kaj je čist vesel, pač on se zdaj že malo zabava, po moje.
That's you and Mr. Franco on May 22nd, 2016, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you're taking him up to the penthouses, aren't you?
That's where I lived, yes.
And it's past 11 p.m. at night, isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure of the time. It looked like that.
Why don't we pull that video back up? $22:51. Almost midnight, right?
That's
excuse me, almost 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
You knew Mr. Depp was out of town the week of May 21, 2016, didn't you?
I don't know what I knew of his schedule at the time.
You knew Mr. Depp was out of town on May 27th when you went to get the domestic violence restraining order, isn't that right?
I don't know if I knew that at the time.
You knew Mr. Depp was heading out on a European tour that week, isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure what I understood of his schedule at that time.
You knew he wouldn't be back for weeks, right?
No, that's incorrect.
Let's go back to that recording.
Fucking bordej.
Defendant's Exhibit 598.
Ej, če bi ona sem zmerno lagala, da bi imela sem take rahle izjave v smislu, ja, Johnny me je dvakrat počul, pa veliko sva se kregala. Če bi ona pričala to od samega štarta, bi zdajle polovica mogoče verjela. Vse, kar je ona nalagala do zdaj in ker še vedno bluzi in ne bo nobeno v lifeu več nič verjel, res.
Not that Mr. Depp was just trying to go into his house to see his daughter, right?
His daughter might be one of the people that was in the house at that time, but that's neither here nor there. That
Your testimony is now
again from entering a cycle.
Your testimony is now that Mr. Depp does drugs in front of his children?
Well, first of all, I know he does. Second of all, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have stopped him from using with his friends, which was the problem, not whether or not his daughter was there.
Let's play, please, Defendants 598 at 49:48 through 50:35. 50:35.
I'm itching. I don't want to be doing this. I want it just to, why don't you just say, okay, baby, I understand. I'll go home and you do your thing, hang out with your daughter, and then I'll see you in a couple of hours and we'll talk about it. Is it that difficult to say that? Or you just fucking hate me and you want to be shitty about it? Please. Just fucking, it's not that difficult. Okay? I don't want to stand here in a driveway and argue with you. Okay, well, I'll see you in a little bit, okay? Please? Please. Just let me know if you're gonna go somewhere, just let me know, please, so I know.
And almost an hour later, you're still arguing with Mr. Depp outside, right?
I don't know how long that argument lasted, no.
Fucking
Mr. You testified about seeking a domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes, I have.
And how you wanted to do it discreetly?
That's correct.
That you wanted as much privacy as you could have?
Yes, that's correct.
And how you walked out to a sea of paparazzi and cameras and photographers, right?
That is correct.
And how this overwhelmed you?
It was overwhelming, yes.
Because you didn't want this attention on you?
That is correct.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 800, which has already been admitted into evidence.
Zdaj pa ni dober fotkov, se mi zdi. Johnny sem hotel mir, hotel je, ni
This
hotel
is a
blizu otrok.
photograph of you taken inside the courthouse when you obtained the DVRO, correct?
That's correct.
And your friend Raquel Pennington took this photograph?
Yes, that's correct.
Because you needed to document your time at the courthouse getting a DVRO?
She just took a picture of me. I'm assuming it was in relation to my divorce, yeah.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 801, which has already been admitted into evidence. Ms. Hurd, this is another photograph of you taken inside the courthouse, isn't that right?
That is correct.
You having a photo shoot inside the courthouse while you were getting a DVRO?
I would not characterize it that way, Ms. Vasquez.
You have a mark on your face, right, Ms. Hurd?
Yes.
You didn't use your bruise kit this time to cover it up?
No, it was the only day I actually walked out of my house without makeup on. I had to be stopped. My best friend saw me in the bathroom starting to put makeup on and told me not to.
Please pull up Exhibit 1.
Najbolje, ko so jo včeraj vprašali, kako je prekrivala modrice in je ženska izjavila, najprej sem dala concealer, se pravi, tle posvetlila, pa sem dala puder, ne, pa sem pa uporabila bruise kit. Pač stvari za črnice, ampak v bistvu jih obrnila sistem. Sem povedala, to, kar je danes delala. Ona je delala črnice, ni jih prekrivala. Probet, res.
Aquaman was released on December 21st, 2018, right?
Yes, that sounds correct.
And that was your first big blockbuster, big budget role, right?
I disagree, but it was the first time I had like a leading role in a movie of that size, yes. Well, second time, yes.
What was your first time?
The first one was the film I talked about before. I mean, yesterday, Justice League. It introduced the character. So, you know, technically, it was the second one.
But you were the love interest in Aquaman, correct?
That is correct.
Now, at least parts of this op-ed are about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
It's about what happened to me after.
You sat here during opening statements when your attorney argued that the context of your statements in this op-ed matter, correct?
That's correct.
So let's go through some of that context.
Alo. Šta je?
The second one.
You were the love interest in Aquaman, correct?
That is correct.
Now, at least parts of this op-ed are about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
It's about what happened to me after.
You sat here during opening statements when your attorney argued that the context of your statements in this op-ed matter, correct?
That's correct.
So let's go through some of that context. Friends and advisors told me I would never work again as an actress, that I would be blacklisted. Statement, aren't you?
In general, I'm referring to being associated with domestic violence.
And you're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-party.
Kaj se zdaj dogaja? Kvaliteto zvišati, ja, lahko, sam zdaj tak... Oh my god, imam res slabo
You
kvaliteto.
sat here during opening statements when your attorney argued that the context of your statements in this op-ed matter, correct?
That's correct.
Božbej Valkman, dobrodošel.
Friends and advisors told me I would never work again as an actress, that I would be blacklisted. Statement, aren't you?
In general, I'm referring to being associated
should
with
be
domestic
blacklisted.
violence.
And you're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-party. But questions arose as to whether I would be able to keep my role of Mira in the films Justice League and Aquaman. This is also referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
This is referring to what happened to me after I got my TRO, my restraining order.
Against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
These questions arose only after you accused Mr. Depp of domestic violence in May of 2016, allegedly, right?
Yeah, from the time I got the TRO, being associated with domestic violence, that's what it's a reference to, yes.
You also wrote, quote, imagine a powerful man as a ship like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise. In this op-ed, you're saying Mr. Depp is a ship, right?
I'm making an analogy to a powerful man as a ship.
The powerful man you're referring to in this analogy.
I loved my ex-ship very much.
I was talking about a bigger issue, actually, than just Johnny. I was talking about what we as a country were talking about at the time of writing this, which is when powerful men in general do something horrible or something they shouldn't, how there is a system in place to protect them, clean up after them, maintain them afloat. You know, this is a reference to not just Johnny, it was about what was happening as a culture when we were addressing a lot of Me Too issues for the first time.
The iceberg is you in this analogy, right, Ms. Hurd?
I would not say that. That was not what I intended, no.
So, this is another reference to your accusations against Mr. Depp.
No, this is about what happened to me once I left that relationship and got a TRO and became associated with domestic violence.
But it's your testimony that this op-ed isn't about Mr. Depp, right?
It's about what happened to me after. That's correct.
It's about your experience after obtaining a temporary restraining order against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct, among other things.
But it's not about Mr. Depp.
It is not about him.
Mr. Depp is making it about Mr. Depp, right?
Ironically.
It's kind of like that Carly Simon song, right, Ms. Hurd?
I don't know what you mean.
Let's talk about the defamatory statements in the op-ed that you also claim are not about Mr. Depp. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. This is about Mr. Depp, isn't it?
No.
You wrote this in 2018, right?
Exactly.
And 2 years prior was 2016, right?
That's true.
Okay.
That's correct.
So,
it's not about
May
Johnny.
of
It's about where
It's not about Johnny. Sam pisala
May
sam...
of-
Pardon. Kaj sem zdaj naredila?
domestic violence.
Yes, that was
This is
attached to
my
my
right.
restraining order, so yes.
May of 2016 is when you sought a restraining order against Mr. Depp.
That's correct, and I had to
May-
provide testimony for that.
Right. And May 2000.
To ni vsak dan, je vsak od ponedeljka do četrtka, pa tam od 3 do polnoči, kakorkoli že. V petkih ni, pa za vikend
Yes.
ni.
And you were photographed with that mark on your face, weren't you?
Lara,
I
Gogala,
walked out to a bunch
hello.
of photographers, yes.
May 2016 is when you told the world that Mr. Depp had physically abused you during your relationship. Isn't that right?
That I had to provide testimony as part of my restraining order application, yes.
And that's how you became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Right, Ms. Heard?
From that point on, yes.
That's when you claimed you faced our culture's
Kako je bed, da ženska, kad tako laže, da je predstavnica za pravice žensk, pa za domestic abuse.
It is
Res
about what
bed.
happened to me afterwards. That's the more interesting thing for me to write about.
The next statement.
Kje ste
Vantage point is
subscriberji?
seen in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse.
Hello, Anonymous
This
N23.
is also about Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
Not just about him, but he is
Malo
included in
eliksirja
that, yes.
leži.
He's the man you accused of abuse 2 years prior to this op-ed. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, but I wrote this op-ed in the context of many men at the time that were public figures or in this public eye being accused as well. So it was a reference in general to a larger phenomenon, not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
A zdaj pa je v njemu.
And then
Jesus.
you write, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. This one's also about Mr. Depp.
Not
did not
just
write that.
Johnny, rekla.
Well, you've accused Mr. Depp of sexual violence in this very courtroom, haven't you?
Yes, but I was intending to keep that private when this was published. I had not publicly ever accused him of that.
I'm going to move to strike everything after the word yes.
No, I'll overrule Justin, go ahead.
You may not have written this title, but you published it, didn't you?
I did not publish a title. I retweeted the article that included the title in it because that was the article.
Let's pull up, please, Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, which is already in evidence. This is a tweet from your Twitter account on December 19th, 2018, correct?
That is correct.
Your Honor, Oh, it's already in evidence?
It is in evidence.
Zdaj, če se kdo ful sprašuje, zakaj so se toliko zataknili pri teh člankih, to je poanta celega tega sojenja. Johnny njo sod zaradi tega, ker je napisala točen ta članek in ga je repostala na Twitter in tako naprej. Točen v tem je fora, zato so se tle toliko zataknili, ker on njo sem to toš. Sem ta del.
Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence, right?
Yes, you don't get to change the title of an article you're retweeting.
And that's the title that you put on your Twitter, correct?
I did not put it on my Twitter, no.
You linked it to your tweet.
I retweeted the article.
You published it.
I retweeted a link to an article that I wrote.
And you published it on your Twitter account.
Fuck.
I retweeted it.
You testified yesterday that you didn't have any control over the title, and just now, of the op-ed when you retweeted it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
This wasn't a retweet, though, right?
A tweet? Perhaps not retweet. I'm not quite sure.
It was
I guess
a tweet.
Tweet. I misspoke.
It was a tweet.
Not retweet.
You included a link to the electronic copy of the op-ed in your tweet, right?
That's what I was trying to say earlier, and I might have misspoke. It's like I'm trying to attach it.
Right. So you included a link, right?
Yes,
to the
that's
op-ed.
correct. That's correct.
So you must have seen the title of the electronic version of the op-ed before you tweeted it, right?
I may have. I just didn't notice it.
Not very careful about what you publish, are you, Ms. Heard?
I just didn't notice the title.
You didn't need to include the link to the electronic version of the op-ed in your tweet, did you?
How else would I have linked it?
Well, you didn't need to include the link to tell the world that today you had published this op-ed in the Washington Post about women who are channeling their rage and about violence and equality into political strength despite the price of coming forward. Right?
I couldn't attach it with a paper clip.
No, but you didn't need to attach it at all to tell the world
Oh, I
that
see
you
what you're
had
saying.
published an op-ed.
No, the goal was to to tweet about it and to provide a link so that people could read it.
The op-ed is in your name, right?
That's correct.
So if you had noticed the title of the electronic version of the op-ed before you included it in your tweet, you could have asked the Washington Post to change it. Isn't that right?
No, that's not.
But you didn't do that, right? You never asked the Washington Post to change the title.
I didn't notice it, and I didn't ask them, nor do I think I needed to.
At the bottom, do you see that there's another tweet from December 19th, 2018?
Yes, I do.
And in this one, it reads, I am honored to announce my role as an ACLU ambassador on women's rights. Did I read that right?
That's correct.
So you announced your ACLU ambassadorship the same day you posted the op-ed on your Twitter.
I think that was always the plan, is to attach the article with the announcement that I was an ambassador.
Your Honor, if I may, would this be a good time to stop for lunch?
No, it's too
No.
early.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We gotta keep going at least till 12:30.
Okay, that's
Thank
fine. Thank you.
12:30. A ja, ne vem.
You testified
Okay.
yesterday about your...
Vprašanje, kaj on pol še ima šanse, da bo nazaj v Piratih skribal? Johnny noče nazaj delati z Disneyjem, ker so ga tako grdo, brezkompromisno odpustili. Mislim, da je to tudi Pirati, tako da tudi
We looked at
noče.
those statements yesterday, right?
That's correct.
And the first statement was from an April 8th, 2020 article, right?
That's correct.
And that's Defendant's Exhibit 1245 that's been previously admitted. Would you please pull that up? Thank you. If we could please publish that, thank you. We can scroll down to the 8th page. Mr. Waldman's statement is buried on the 8th page of a 12-page article. Is that right, Ms. Hurd?
I don't know how many pages are here.
Well, this is the 8th page. Let's go to the 12th.
Kvak bluzi, kar neki. Who is it? Andrzej Ambrožič, mogoče zelo takega poznam.
Let's
Welcome
pull
to
up, please,
Alien
Defendant's
Club.
Exhibit 1246, which has already been admitted.
By the way, ja, ko bo pauza, oziroma pa ta dolga pauza za kosil, bom nehala,
If
ne
we
vem
could
pa, če bom
please
pa
go to
nadaljevala,
Mr. Waldman's
ker
statement on
ne
page
vem, če
10.
Johnny ne bo nič rekel, ker je že pričal in njegove priče so že bile, zdaj pa ona in njene priče. Johnny je že svoje povedal, imate vse online, če te hoteli gledati. Je bil veliko boljši.
That's Mr.
Johnny je bil
Waldman's
top.
statement, right?
That is correct. I think it's Mr. Waldman speaking on behalf of Johnny, yes.
You don't have any evidence of that, do you, Ms. Hurd? This is Mr. Waldman's statement, right?
I think it's included in the article as well.
That this is Mr. Waldman's statement, correct?
That a representative or an attorney, I don't know which word it says in the article, that it says very clearly that they're speaking on behalf of Johnny or representing Johnny.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 8818, 881A, excuse me.
In kdo bo pol speral? Ne vem, pomadamo nekoga drugega. Itak bo brez veze zdaj. Sploh ni važno.
We could please
Pa da ne bo kdo
go to
Aquamana gledal. We hate
page
Aquaman now, ko bo Amber še vedno notbajo. Ko je že posnet.
8 of this article.
Premiera, kaj sem rekla? Kdaj je odločitev porote, če se sprejme ali ne? Ko bo konec sojenja, to bo pa čez 2-3 tedne.
Sorry, Your Honor. Yeah, I just
Premiera, ja, ne, grem na premiero Aquamana, če mi plačaš. Ne bom, ne, fuj. Lahko bi jo dejansko rezali ven, se mi zdi, da obstaja ta opcija. Pa posneli z drugim človekom. Sicer ful dela, pa ful denarja bi šlo, ampak... Čakva. Igralka Harley Quinn Margot Robbie bo igrala proti novih piratih iz Karibov. Ja, z njo bojo zdih neki dno dobl, realno. Če že na Johnnyja.
We'll come back to this. Sorry, Ms. Heard. So sorry, Your Honor. Let's go ahead and take this
Pa
down.
bi dala, da Amber popizdi, da jo
You
vidijo.
testified yesterday about how your reputation was before these 3 statements were made, correct?
Yes, I did.
You testified that your career was going very well before.
I think I said the trajectory was positive, yes.
You testified you had a global campaign for L'Oreal, right?
That is correct.
You testified you were waiting on a schedule for Aquaman 2.
That is correct.
You testified you were scheduled to do a press tour for the TV show The Stand.
Press obligations, yes.
And then you testified that after the articles, you were no longer actively involved in the L'Oreal campaign. Isn't that right?
Hvala
They suspended
fucking Bogu.
using my material.
Saj
And that you were no
L'Oreal je to
longer
dojel.
involved in the publicity surrounding The Stand after the articles, right?
That's correct.
And you didn't hear anything about the schedule for Aquaman 2.
Correct.
Ms. Heard, you have no evidence that Mr. Waldman's 3 statements are the reason you are allegedly no longer active in the L'Oreal campaign, do you?
Well, I mean, other than my awareness that they can't use me because of all of the online attention that generated.
And you have no evidence that Mr. Waldman's 3 statements are the reason that the Stand media opportunities allegedly stopped, do you?
Yeah, I know they couldn't attach my name to their promotional materials because of the online stuff.
In fact, there was a lot of reasons why you were no longer active in these endeavors. Isn't that right?
I disagree with that.
Reasons that had absolutely nothing to do with Mr. Waldman's statements. Isn't that right?
I disagree with that.
There was a lot of publicity about your relationship with Mr. Depp around the time Mr. Waldman made the 3 statements at issue, right?
I do not recall.
A lot of really negative publicity for you, Ms. Heard. Isn't that right?
There's been an ongoing smear campaign, yes.
An ongoing negative publicity campaign.
It's an orchestrated smear campaign.
You have no evidence of that, do you, Ms. Heard?
Just look me up, you'll see.
Let's take a look at some of that.
Kaj bojo zdaj probali pokazati?
Alright.
Omadeževalna kampanja proti njej. V glavnem, kdor ni slišal zdajle, ko bo pauzo zakosil, verjetno če se na 15 minut bom jaz tudi zaključila. Pa ne vem, če bom nadaljevala, ker ta pauza je dolga. Bom videla, če me bo nazaj potegnil. Joj, kaj čarati, stari. O, Alenka je, ni Alenka ime. Kaj ima to za pit, mene tudi interesira, ampak mi smo se danes složno odločili, da je to eliksir laži. A veš, ko imaš eliksir resnice oziroma verita sirom in to je eliksir laži, da je sposobna v nedogled lagati. Oh my god. Mene toliko zanima, kaj se sodnici pa poroti po glavi plete. Kaj si mislijo o njej? Si za Justice for Johnny Depp, fuck yeah. Mislim, meni čist, ne vem, ja, ful sem subjektivna glede tega, sem že od samega štarta sem jaz fucking 300% res, pri tem primeru pa res. Mal peše ta eliksir, ki slabo laže, ja. Skozi bolj peša, ja. Tako, če ena droga je preveč, veš, ne prime več. Dobar. Meni je fascinantno, ko se je Johnny odločil, da jo ne bo pogledal v oči, oziroma ji je obljubil, da ne bo več videla njegovih oči in dejansko je zdaj ne gleda v oči že od začetka samega sojenja, ker je več tednov in skozi sta si takole. In mi je ful fascinantno, kako mu niti ne uide, veš. In enkrat, ko je ona resno na smrti jokala, je on gledal gor proti njej, ne vem, ali v oči ali kam, ampak tako. Edin takrat, ampak ni jo pa dejansko v oči gledal, se mi zdi. Tako noro mi je. Lilika, lahko ne spemaš? Ker moram blokat pol. Kaj se zgodi, če bo Amber zgubila? Ok, tle se pa meni mečkan ustal, realno. Kaj se zgodi? A kdo zihra gleda tega, kaj se zgodi? A mora poj Amber njemu 50 milijonov plačati? Vem pa, da tako njega ona tož že nazaj za 100 milijonov, skoda. Rgejte sem brcen. A Amber bo šla v zapor? Ja, če se kaj konkretno zlaže, tacga sporonga, mislim. Nasploh, če se pod zaobljubo lažeš, baje si zelo hitro soočen z zaporom, ampak po moje ful odvisen, kaj se lažeš, pa kako se ven zolečeš, a ne. Mislim, realno, če mene vprašaš, je ona že lagala, ker je rekla, jaz sem donirala dobrodelnim organizacijam 7 milijonov, ker ni res, ker jih je samo pledžala. To pomeni basically, da jih je samo obljubila. In ona je to pod zaobljubo povedala, tako da... Ker za meni tiče to že laša, ne zapav, zaradi tega, ker je bliz zaporu prišla, pa ne vem. Pero Martič bo nov Jack Sparrow. To bi bilo full weird. Se predstavljate njega z dolgim kitkam pa make-upom. Souli men, če bo teb Amber plačala 150 milijonov, ti pa še meni malo pošere, please. Kdo je risal na listek med sojenjem? Zig Johnny. Ja, je možnost, da gre Amber v zapor, ja. Je možnost. Je možnost, da se toliko zabluzi, da bo šla v zapor. Dvomam, da je zelo dolg čas, ampak je pa možnost. Oziroma, realno še zmer, tako ste rekli, zelo hitro se ona verjetno lahko odplača pot ven. Mi pa fascinantno, če je bila ona skup z Elonom, pa Jamesom Frankotom, ki imata oba moje full casha, Elon sploh, pač on je itek, kva, milijarder, bilionar, se ne vem, da ni iz njega zmanipulirala več casha, to mi je fascinantno. Sprav, koliko realno mu je mogla res na živce stopati, ali pa da mu nekaj grozila, ne vem, da ni več od njega dobila, da ni on že namest ni odplačal tem dobrodelnim ustanovam, pa to mi je zanimivo pač. So to ni pauza, ne? Ne, ni še pauza. No, ajde, gremo. Ja, če to vjame, if you are an attorney, judge or policeman, there is no punishment at all. If you are a private citizen, more than likely you will be charged with perjury. In California, it is up to 3 years in prison. A to je zdaj Kalifornija, to je zdaj Virginia, tako da ja, ima možnost, da gre v zapor in fucking srčno upam, da šla saj toliko malo, ne vem, da jo tam, ne vem kva naredi, se predstavljaš Amber v zaporu, sam to ne bi bil, to bi bil zih tak ful prestižen zapor. Elon je milijarder, no, evo, hvala. Lying in court under oath is a crime. Perjury is normally only prosecuted if it can be shown to have materially affected the outcome of the case. The penalties range from fines to jail time. Ja, se predstavljaš, da poleg tega, da ona zgubi, mora še dobi kazen ful zaplačati za laži, ja, veš, to bi bilo toliko dobro. Mislim, še bolj kot zapori po moje prvošen to, da bila totalno broke in da ne bi dobila nobene vloge več, ever, res. To bi bilo idealno, če mene vprašaš. Kaj imam 46 naročnikov? Res? Res? To pa je zdaj ful skočil. Hudo. Ne, se hecaš. Videla je, da dejansko ni on tak, da se ga da zmanipulirati. A Elona Muska... Jaz sem videla ene njune mesiče, od Elona Muska pa od Amber, in ga je ful okrog prsta vrtela, oziroma on je pisal v smislu, ti sam povej, če kaj rabiš, pa če jo je Johnny zlorabljal, pa take stvari. In tega mislim, da ne more uporabljati zaradi tega, ker se pač Elon pa Franko sta se odločila, da ne bosta prišla na sodišče. Ker je zelo tako, mene res zanima, kdo bo sploh pričal na njeni strani. Nimam pojma, kdo ne bi, ampak zanimivo je, kdo ne bo, a ne, da pa zakaj ne, veš, recimo, če njena sestra, to bi bilo ful fascinantno, da prije njena sestra pričat, ker ne vem, kaj bo povedala, glede na to, da jo je Amber tepla. Se pravi, mislim tepla, tako bom rekla. Od Amber sestra je bila del nekega reality showa, kjer dejansko imajo tako hitro debato o tem, oh my god, te je res tvoja sestra stepla, ne, pač Amber. In reče, ja, ok, pustimo, ne bomo govorili o tem, mislim. In tudi osebna asistentka od Amber je rekla, da je imela sestra odnos kick the dog, oziroma tak ful beden, slab odnos. Tako da to bo še zabavno. Dober dan, ponovno. Nekdo se je joinal. Saša Zupan, welcome to Alien Gang. Nikoli ne reče Alien Club ali Alien Gang. Oh my god. Johnny si gleda tale stream, ki skozi dol nekam bolj. Ja, oni res ne smejo niti bliz po zakonu, internetu, medijem in čemorkoli v zvezi s sojenjem. To je strogo prepovedano. Sprav, en mesec so čist na off. Je pa fascinantno pri tem, da če tudi samo slišijo nek debato glede tega, pa dobijo neko informacijo od zun, morajo to povedati sodišču, da se sodišče odloči, ali jih omakne iz sojenja ali jih obdrži. Noro, res. Sam kdo to pač dejansko preverja, pa nobena, ne, se pravi. Jaz osebno, res imam občutek, da Amber gladko gleda online in TikToke in vse in pa se prilagaja temu. Kako se obnašati pa to? Mat, kje si? Aj šum? No, ajde, gremo, pauza. Kako sodišče ve, kaj zdaj oni... Ja, se to, a ne? Zdaj moram spet blokirati nekoga, ne spamat, no? Kako sodišče ve? Lih to je fora sodišče, če mene vprašaš, kar sem jaz sodišče spoznala zadnji mesec, je to, da se vse vrti na podlagi prisege, za prisege pač pa resnice, a ne? Da preprosto, če si zaveden državljan, ne boš sploh lagal in delal prekrškov. Unika tako lažejo, kaj Amber, veš, da je tudi vse ostalo prekršala, ne? Imaš pa tiste, ki so iskreni, tako da basically se sam zanašaš na človekov pač iskrenost. Vem pa, da bom imela po moje mini žurko, če Johnny zmaga. Aloha, nadaljujete, kva se imate toliko zameniti? Tako se krega sodnica od Amber. Evo, mamo, gremo dalje. Ja, bo dež padel, da? Ne, se kar v redu.
Thank you everyone for your patience.
Nikaj, pa še kdaj, Kamil.
So, Ms. Heard, my last question to you was that there was a lot of negative publicity for you around the time that Mr. Waldman made these statements. Isn't that correct?
I believe that they were made, I believe that the statements kind of kept being attached to new defamatory, or, articles that were like smear campaign sort of attack articles is what it...
Okay. Let's go through some of the articles that were out in the press. So, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1267. Could just publish that just for the witness. That would be great. Thank you. This is an article published on February 2nd, 2020, and the title is #Justice for Johnny Depp Trends After Amber Heard Admits to Hitting Actor in Audio Clip. Do you see that?
I see that.
Pa že dolgo obstaja ta hashtag.
And if we can go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1268. This one was published on February 3rd, 2020.
Mislim, zakaj bi se zmenila za to dramo, če morate itak en drugemu konc koncev plačati, pač nima smisla. Ampak ne, se čudi, da ne.
Ms. Heard, do you see the title? Amber Heard admits to hitting Johnny Depp in recording. Do you see that?
I see the title.
Okay. We could please go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1269. This one was published on March 17th, 2020. Amber Heard slammed door into Johnny Depp's head, reveals new audio. Do you see that?
Yeah, these are more of the PR plans.
Let's go to 1270. This one was published on March 31st, 2020. Amber Heard to be sacked from Jason Momoa's Aquaman after Johnny Depp's controversy, reports. Do you see that?
I do.
Oh. Jason Momoa, by the way, followa Johnnyja Deppa. Upam, da ga tudi podpira, no. Imagine that.
Exhibit 1271. You see the title that says, Johnny Depp says ex-wife Amber Heard sliced his finger off, and it, quote, erupted like the Vesuvius?
I just don't know when that was. I've never seen that article.
We can go to 1272. This one was published on May 29th, 2020, and it says, when Amber Heard confessed to smashing a door into Johnny Depp's head, clocking him in the jaw. Do you see that?
I see that.
Going to 1275. This one was published on July 15th, 2020. Amber Heard stole my sexual assault story. XA tells libel trial. Do you see that?
This was Adam Waldman as well.
That's bad. Od svoje
Doesn't say Mr. Waldman. It actually says Kate James also says she often received abusive text messages from Johnny Depp's ex-wife, doesn't it?
I just know because he threw down the article.
Ms. Heard, isn't that what that says?
Mr. Waldman threw the newspaper at me afterwards.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question.
Camilla, dobra.
My question is, the title of the article says, Amber Heard stole my sexual assault story, XA tells libel trial. Kate James also says, Your Honor, she opened the door by saying it was Adam Waldman.
Next question.
Okay. Let's go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1276.
Fucking odvetnica od Amber ne zna mikrofona
Amber
prižigati,
Heard
sploh ne
admits
vemo,
to hitting
kaj
fucking
so
baby
objections.
Johnny Depp in court audio. Do you see that, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's go to 1277.
Yeah.
Published July 28th, 2020. Amber Heard's sister thought she was going to kill Johnny Depp, claims a witness. Do you see that, Ms. Heard?
I see that.
And 1278. Published on July 28th, 2020. Johnny Depp was the victim of abuser Amber Heard, London's High Court told. Do you see that?
I do see that.
Kako ima Amber non-stop to faco tako? Prav, no, jaz sem toliko nadrejena, ti mi greš toliko na živce.
Recess then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our hour lunch recess at this point. Do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research.
Okay. To je zdaj uradna njihova pauza, ki je dolga 1 uro. Jaz še ne vem, če se bom vrnila. Zna biti ne vem. Tako da zaenkrat jaz odhajam tudi na pauzo, ki jo rabim, ker smo bili po moje tako 3-4 ure. Ali več, ne vem. Zakon ste bili pa pojma nimam, če se vrnem res. Jaz sem mislim, da v tega je ful prej konc don z Amber. V glavnem, dragi moji, pauzica. Bye bye. Saj mogoče slišimo, reči pa to za to, res ne vem. Aj, čau.